Bi a wo Ghana anye ye kura mu mu be se enson de o mbe sun se wo mu nya adwuma o mu ye ana enye se bi o mu ditro no kre se the World Bank report so che mu no bebre nya adwuma o mu ye a che about 6.8% o mu nya adwuma nye wo hwa ILO report kura won de wo ka se so ate aba form ama aba 5.bb% eno ne graph na ahyase no me de to screen no so ema ye nyina no ni nyina so di adanse se de na no arrow from performance so da ka be papa ba ha obechire mu se what charge for Dr. Nkrumah Breso na nipa egu ka akwan so ene ya omotonton ne ma traffic mu nyesa na na etie owo mo Breso nti over the years a free independence be sine e de modern ne ya bo se e bepa nyuma ama mrantie ne mabaawa aye na omano akonanim se de o charge for na aka se black ma bibini waye crad no onim de wo de sefata obetimi ahwe wo no a eso ene empenifo na tena se bebo ane nyina ye hu se adwuma no wahia ye benya bi aye private sector anasa aban and also koso eye na aban no aso ne plan pa ne sen se obepa adwuma ye sustainable enye de ye amanyo mo Ghana hanoma we ba youth employment 2 years youth employment 2 years 2 years we wi abaka kotena fi into be na asante a wonya adwuma a woye sustainability ben ne be ya afebo nipa ne benye bia on na busuafo nyom nsa ebe call mo ano Ghana force yesuban e wa adwuma ho so etesen ukaya eneye nra ene nene nansa ya minimum wage foforo mema comparison minimum wage ekoso wo Europe ene America na ya minimum wage so ekoso wo ha na ya minimum wage e wo sub-region na ya hwe say taxes do those sense no mo Europe ni America mutua as against yen so e wo han taxes do those sense ene etua bibia no responsibility e ka ho ya hwe ni nyina na ehu ensema ye de be hyehyɛ so ne mfa so e benya e wo so ene ye ne mpanifo be twetwe enkomo yewra ya wo so mpa ye financial analyst so san ye lawyer ni e ka ho oba be ke ho na tie minsa enipa eso enifa so e opani ye da se so be kan ho minu say was 15 years ago nie na wonya patient every day bia na se ne de mo twedi ampo Nyankopon so ye free amane hunu ene abebrese bebre mu no ma second chance say ye ntine wi ase ne nsum adasa ye da se so be kan ho era Peter ya Okranche aka mrahye bedwani wo Amefi Central abato mpeso ano so no say abato mpeso ye kan unemployment major unemployment honorable so ye adwuma parliament fi bebre to issues na ye kana so mo so na Mra parliament mraben na on be she betimi aboa na etimi de nkomo no ebroni beka say putting in perspective to no ba no pay da say watuto mo afro constituency abeka en kan yin say ka we de nkamko mo aso mo wa yie dada say jo nti ye da say abeka en sa
yo msme da say
enti busiafo betimi follow your social media platforms na YouTube ko no ma UTV Ghana e wo no me na Facebook so ho betimi de wadwenche aba be join ye na ye nyina ato adwuma pe solution pedifo ye nto ankomo no so ma me sha say so no bo mo na mo ye policy makers na mo wo parliament amo hyemra World Bank report no di to dwa wo hwe graph na ye say ye unemployment mrante ne mabawa eni adwuma wo mo ye no kwa na ekoso from 2010 ekoso sa am say 2016 2018 ena eba form kakra ena 2020 asan huri eko back to baby a 2014 2016 na ye was 6.8 e na ya asan akọ back 2020 after yenya improvement be in 2017 2018 no mo amote parliament mo hu situation say it's as bad as said the World Bank report teacher na
yo me da say afia anopay o hwe atade amachi a onso ahye bia bo we can accident ho asemi yade a ha enra mbofra ba akon ye menua madamfo onya moto accident ma omode nkra brem se wakem nti yade ya yoro husem yie pa a senye wo amebehia wa nkanya de ameba esan se ade atomani papa me mama sofo nyina yakọ me mane maame yakọ efred na akwa Bernard Bedu nyambe ya aduma hyehyɛ de duru ha mebo mmɔden aba na me ne mo nyina abegyam no moto na oteso a onya sa akwanhyia no nti me kia obi a na anɔpɛ mu a mo hwɛ yɛ menim sɛ time na delay ɛsɛ krofo bi sa fra wo sɛ program no ba so 8 o'clock nti ayi avon so mo mmɔden na mo me betwɛn sakora avon bi sɛ yɛ ne yaye na ni nyina sɛ technical
accident nti e na kra de nye technical accident no
okay
accident block you bi anti na just o ye hwe
yes me fast me share
usu share accident na be me nsa chese ka ba ko no de ode anwea no begu kwan no ana obi so de babo mu ahoma kye nti by 5:45 the notice obi aka ana wa wonim towing idea ya be da na political issue be da na man so insuit no towing company bi e ni wono ma owo towing truck na emu odu na obetimi atwe sa trailer no nti na say so omo twen fire service for buy na che so omo ntumi nya hwe
right nti ye de ene beto ho na oka unemployment yi ho asem o hwe graph na ekona ya de a ye atiti yi me de kura bi hunu say we kura de modest
I think so
we mu omo ya omo ni nam nkran ni ha nobody ya mo survey they mo ko pa but I'm sure unemployment say every when you say percent and 6.8%. 6.8%
of the 30 million.
And a year unemployed. Oh, now some music by 70%.
So,
of course, now 6.8 years and I just say we are fully employed. 6.8%.
But report, no, ILO report also can about 50% of Ghana for so here underemployed.
Yeah, that's
underemployment there crash and keep father sir. Underemployment there keep father. Unemployment need there, me them share about 70 to 80%. Kwa ya crash here it was a mrantie no bia anya adwuma omo egu ha as MP no kwa omnim se ona ide otumi ma omo adwuma enti eye serious papa so 6.8% di anka yen high ho na more than that and na offer under employment no so a bi any NABCO ne national service ni ade yina ni nyina fa say under employment yes emre buy me kan wasem na ohwe rate na in 2014 na a low and a pejai me say because of the doomsona e buy no a contributing ma unemployment ne kosro and non sinti na am say that government no obo modern e solve say doomso yi or the cal power ni America no ni ade buy e be support the low capacity na e ma ye nti World Bank record can say in 2017 no financial economic situation a bit better and NDC the free power and TM say MPP buy no o share a graph na a confirm kakra not anything be use somebody tune le mom no a power na aba back no
okay
e ma niema e kosro e say niema ye cycle back to post light of post doom so and esa ko hwa just niema I very bad go hwa before the doom so na very low and doom so man course so and abafem and they say the asa ko doom so time ni bio enti essentially say doom so ne ho enti we can't attribute the problem no to doom so essentially say light no e normal ye mom the light no ye ta edundum no na niema contribute like this no and now kind no I am because politics now so you can't want me politics in free unemployment because it is the responsibility of a government to make sure say amount for I employed not necessarily say abiding na create jobs abiding na be enuma I look me there as a students of socialism no me support of your Kwame Nkrumah address na I give say after independence no individuals Ghanaians enisika or make me be enuma because America one person nisika no more than the Ghana yesika nyina and to ka say enye privatization nipa ba ko nisika wa America no obetumi be adwuma bebre wa bra ba Ghana na nipa anisika and to yen say offer mixed economy na abaya bem na aye say private public partnership to hwe enemo ye na okoye area ho na owo bamboo factory miami chrome bamboo factory na oni Japanese na ba na China Japanese wo oko aboso glass factory na oni Americans na ye rubber plantation rubber tie company and so joint and na enye purely government na ye mixed economy kono of say
that is which year no
in the Nkrumah's time.
Okay.
In the before.
So even in Nkrumah's time, yes, our partnership, no.
Yes, no, Nkrumah mixed economy. No, yet purely socialist.
Okay.
Because if you say me American, Bonsa tie factory. No, only Americans now a team up. A Bosso glass factory. No, only one.
Vacu.
Yes.
Americans.
No, yeah. And it's not our side even though no Casalidi, but who said no, a day or team up. Now who said purely private, no, so ye nisa capital na Ghana. Individual de beye eti me sure say oh yes slowly no na on see amount for so kwan private people no Nkrumah China na private companies so ho our young businesses. It's not purely socialist and now communists are now you other countries. No, it is a manufacturing be by. Baby na private people in person or me invest no and krumana emma nation investi o share Gihok distillery Gihok companies ne GTMs GTC GNTC yes the trading company ni ade ni na purely Ghanaian no and so na internet unemployment no na ni ho or miss you know no what purely government because na bien say o ma mrantia ni nipa na ya adwuma because government is support to kura taxes na beba no government say so gi and assume so break even kura na it was good for the economy na ema youth nso enya bibiye after nkruma no na yes purely capitalism and ye buy ya eno na ede bedru he na eno so enya ba other countries aye na other countries they started like how nkruma started mixed. Because UK UK like this was purely a socialist country. And almost ya nefe amanfo ni yes kana na amanfo no individuals no invest. To say yes purely a capitalism. Na ade ne beye aban beye ama anwuma aba.
Dabi to bon say beba solution so. Say ade na me pese me as of now, dey na akofa high unemployment rate I would doubt it ILO for figures say a bebro 6.88%. Why you can about 70% because they all can move there because underemployment so ILO reports on the to 50%. Into the 6 points when you crack one is almost 60 70. The all can will be true but me per se back to find 1 point already as a doom sono and ama say CAE adwuma any hono aba from 2014 numbers na call down to 2016 there na adwuma so a call from no to ba so any say see adum so na wo can say power any the main reason why adwuma any ho but mesa ba so but era some pa na wa tro article bi aba say the before beti me pe ya be ba no so for solutions because emanti na ma ba o mo hwe ye nyina obi apa adwuma ye they don't seem to find it adwuma aban se napco no be fa ahia why ya 2 years ni awo nkonsa na wo president for time the youth employment by 2 years ni awo atiko na wo ene ye ne nti se see a problem no analysis a wo ye no somebody why ya banking why ya lawyer so kan ho the any problem na kofa unemployment ban
okay
so so doubt 6.8
me jide chem say be brosa and I think the mini opinion na kan yamani be but I Yamfan Komono NCA. The estimate of the Ghana population is about 31 million. I want us to nuance the conversation a bit more. Yes, median age, and I say in fear, the average person at 21 out of the 31 million. If you take the median age of 21 now, that means most likely so university, third year and fourth year, and our worst case, we uni. Millennials, which are people born between 1983 to 2003, is said to be 1/3 of Ghana's population. People less than 15 years is said to be about 40% of Ghana's population. So employment, you can only talk about the people who are in the labor market. The people who are in the labor market, no doubt about it, most people are finished school, and that's a big problem. The bigger issue is underemployment because Obiabe started BB kakra. But even before COVID, we knew that unemployment was a big issue. But COVID has only accentuated the issue. First, but even bigger, what is the future of work? The future of work says that about 1/3 of all the work, by 2030, about 1/3 of all of that will be lost. Yes.
Adwuma no cry.
Adwuma wo say no.
About 20 by 2030.
By 2030, 1/3 of almost every job we know now can be digitalized. Inti ye hia nipa biem. So and actually there is technology to automate about 50% of all known works now. Inti and I'm doing this and I can't wait just to premise the fact that in common aiding who here pa because it's about ye nyina what we call ourselves, which is human beings. Because we are here to work, we are here to tender the garden. Whatever your philosophy is, because ejuma is a definitive part of you can say
a canipa
a can you can say bodia the twice or beka metwe me din adwuma na me kaka ho. So it's a key function of our identity. And to the moment unemployment becomes a big issue, we should know that the critical issue as a nation, priority one, should be how do we put people to work. What are some of the causes? Number one, in my view, is a Jumabia comes along to solve a problem of a need. A Jumabia, whether it's government oriented or it's private sector, it's solving a need. The question is who controls need and who controls the supply of that need. Sometimes it's private individuals who or mobile hands and ayeba abia or mo enyini chain krano and bibi and our government who has the power. The means of control is one of the things that I think we've underestimated for a long time. I keep on telling people, time we order in 1945, most of Africa was colonized.
By 1945 now, Second World War,
the new world order and US hegemony was being structured around the global order. Almost all of Africa was not on the table. Table as a matter of fact, to begin with, the country we called Ghana, the partitioning of the continent was done when we were not at the table. Inti obine tena baby no ka say way there when we had no say on the table. Now it may be over.
That information a very good point here na wama twi no adults because see there's a growing a year honorable emrantie ne maba wa aba na Ghana yen fix Ghana na Ghana enye ne mpanifo ne nye but the wu chire me che say
issues no got and kosi say you bet the historicity and as baby fever no ye best so ho say say bi wanya malaria na oti o ya no akotopara oti no beko but malaria no wo ho until the causes and the symptoms are and then most of the governments are attacking the symptoms. In the interim, because of the 4-year cycle, you can't blame the politicians. But beyond them, as a nation, I would say who baby away fever, right? The bigger part, in my humble view, is that the control of need is not in our own hands. Most of them in here. Inti say yekeka kwa na say yebusa denti because ubusa denti de edikan a ubenya bebre but ubusa say denti na yenya denti na edikan na you get some no ubusa say okay why we so denti na ma we by if you follow through the sequencing you understand say most of the things are a consequence of things nyama I see over so many years. What is the point I'm making? One, education. Needs are supplied by know-how. Unim sebi. Your opinion share FD and a radio station. Nyama miensa core raw material, the means, and then the entrepreneur. Nyama miensa raw material, which include people.
At the corner
nyama na the sources into FD camera
tables, lights.
No, they are tossing me a new year the means. Wow, what hey, penina wa friendly, those are the means. And penino dear Nimon, which is an entrepreneur. Now the bigger question to ask is raw materials, no wine semnewo. Who owns it? We can have a conversation, but yen in Ghana, almost all the raw material.
It's here the young man, so money shut
but you can't even the means the technology when they are FDA with when the Akunya it is young confirm free China in so a bottle so by the time you realize the raw materials which ordinarily I would say diano ebia sebi or hinibi de insa and a ton assassin in a man na cry bit or interphone when ye if you know the means no fact sebi China ni bi efi baby no obey phone inti I think say fundamentally all the facets of creating jobs we seem to have lost the focus on it and because in common usually you didn't common with a view of either the politics, and I didn't come on with a view of not lifting the nuance, and I encomu. Exactly. Mrs. say, yeah, but I was saying, but at the core of it, Mrs. say, is the education.
Okay.
How did we come by this formal education? Industrial revolution. You hear factories. Into Yanfo school, what's the curricula? Curricula is only an expert view of the also BSC. Into standardization, also BSC A, B, C, D. But you know, him say, I know. Akodi baby. Into question, and they say, the skill set that is necessary to provide the need and the resources is extremely lacking. And enkosi say ye benya ntobase ne abusa say e ba ne say ne bedruha ya bedruha no kwan be ne befa so apie. And how do we then address the key factors of creating any job and common ye beso so nesnesni inti? But I hope say enen common no ye betimi anya bre kakra na ya piper at least the three factors, and go back and reach out a bit more.
Me pedia wo de ba mu no fa oman no ya bakwasem bebi e free say ya hyase no kra no eye haw ye bedru ha say no kra na aye say ye wia oman no ye destiny ye nkrabia na ye wia abrofo wia fa kra akodada ansa na ye kra ye ba honorable
me nua na kasapa em say knowledgeable but me ne nya adwen wo
okay
akwa bi so
okay
say you call historical background, the bond of 1844, a partition of Africa. And so, okay, a partition, Berlin Conference. Yeah, Ghana, any country, you colonize it. And me per se, those things, you did three. The problem,
but we say, okay, you can say, as a mine Japan, free oil, a gold, a minor resources, they move under one any and some.
Say no, me young kasa because after independence we had all the better version Oko Malaysia. The same time they were also colonized by the British. Oko Singapore, they were also colonized. 80 people have done it. Almost the same problem here. Okay, almost shasebi. But I at your and normal leaders no the pragmatic measures ebaya asesan yema. A hot liquor you in Singapore example. Mahathir Mohammed war Malaysia example. Here ye can come in time. Now unemployment then ho. Near those days, Yesusano, near Mukrum, a small village, we had a factory there. And I'm ranting in a year duma. And I am a per se, ye did a not to not compare that with this time. So your leader, now I'm out for cancer face the country. Now I'm out for 9 and check your one. Then why are you a leader? And ye in the between fixing a country, you know. It sounds as a leader. Wo won't mean create job now. Obama taxes are low. Taxes are low. Companies will spring up. Obama electricity are available. Obama water are available. Obama road are available. These are the duties of a government. Oh yeah, no now businesses will flourish. Now what you take taxes on your road, on your issue, on your development. Rather, you prefer to rent an expensive plane. Now they fly across the country. How do you develop?
But also, honorable, I say, the Amanyosamba Mupe.
Honorable politicians.
Yeah, to me,
politicians. I don't fault him. Those are perspective, but many politicians, and I don't intend to be. I am actually speaking to the fact. And it's interesting, he says he doesn't agree. The interesting fact is, for now, if your currency depreciates, and irrespective of whatever government, for the last 20 years, average depreciation rate of the over your CD, now the $2 home, for the last 20 years, irrespective of whatever government, depreciation rate is on the average 18%. 18. Into no company can borrow less than 18% if the business is pragmatic. And I said, or you'll be there is no way Obetiman will be bosia less than 8%, 18%. Because or the $1 to what and can also and because of pay scanning it's not a charity. The bigger questions are, in as much as we may disagree on, and I completely agree with him, say on my baby echo the same situation, but they've broken out. The bigger question is, quite being so no more fast when we break it out.
Okay.
And I'm sure when we come to the solutions, we'll have a conversation about it. But the bigger part we need to ask ourselves is, if your basic lending rate in an economy bet me a minimum of 18%, minimum,
just above from cry.
Minimum, because of the reserve rate parity now. The question is, a burden sebi, maybe I just out on cocaine. Because 1/5 of cigar will be out the edge, man. I was say 1/5, and the betos ubetia obia ukobo bosiano ewone. I was say per year, unya ensihu enum. How many businesses can make profit in order to pay only interest of 1/5? So the problems are bigger. But again, the politics is a part of life. The politicians will do the politics. And because it's if you're saying, come on, I'm not a politician, but my perspective is that some of the problems are long-standing. I completely agree with him on leadership. But leadership, I don't even think is only political leadership. I think that it's about institutional leadership, it's about the elders in all forms and in all senses. Right?
Me critical honorable because point already me imagine ya me say fundamental kakra say baby I was say o man na japade say oil say gold say bauxite ne hwan e fa enye dia ye oil likura wo kan GMPT omo nye oil exploration omo de ane say omo ye seismic database no de go na broni aba because o drill one oil well cry $50 million Ghana GMPT needs to cannot the bed really one oil inti me go back to era one of financial analyst and your lawyer na some more raising say baby on man for pem na ye de o man anka say sis wanyini no e no cry ye flawed dada say ye japade no fa kese no a enye dia me pese what address this issue ansani aba back to point I can say am I baby free so am I baby free from independence NDCO, MPPO, CPPO, a dear Nama, yes, ye bedi Malaysia for the NH. Because we the parliament.
Yes.
So you should be giving us answers.
It's a bit of say, see a case, Abrofa be fire gold, Abrofa be fire ye diamond, Abe fire oil. They came to negotiate. Omani politician in Penifone trans.
No, money I have for negotiate here. Bond of 1844, and then I politician be.
But even now, the contracts are with politicians. I completely agree.
Okay.
Bond of 1844.
Okay.
And yet the Ensashi, yet the Enyamasha, people have turned their countries around.
Okay.
With good leadership.
I agree.
And you make me a 10 years.
I agree.
Intermakers say no. Abrofuye is some for a diamond, for a gold, ne oil ya, yanifi. Oma me wia.
Me know ya.
Woman a politician but transit in the room signing.
Me know ya doing.
Eti what signing amano a. Na only dey say no every businessman pay profit.
Me know ya.
If you can't blame the white man.
But
when na what ho na, wo dey ukwa bibi na what turn o country no. That is the problem. Petronas, oil, uko Malaysia, they developed the country with the oil they found. Petronomati national company. Yes, a national company. National company Petronas, and what develop Malaysia with the oil because they hold the maximum share. Oma privatize. Oma national company. Na yenso.
They are binding. Anya
Petronas. Uko Petronas Tower, the tallest building some years back, about 10 years ago. Mahathir will see the tallest building to show the strength of Malaysia's economy. A Petronas building. Uko Petronas building. They own all the one. Now, and I make sure say, Mommy, Fadia, into politics. Ya kase ya asemu ya can without politics.
Okay.
Because all politicians only a USC was say fix the country no. Now, if you can fix the country now, also when you now come. Now, what can I do? Me there, person me wiesika. Now, every human being, the man call Yaguma, not ho, no wiesika. Now, or the ye, your car, and your die. That's human nature. I brought you call. But the leadership, no, I'm making sure say the laws do work. Oya boni I bet you maso. Nya say who kofa nkrofo kraka moto before could di boni. Nkrofo won come with the country will go into abyss. Ejimi nuanom. Hwe ukoji loan na. Remember example. So what you call now is called airport. So for airport.
Terminal 3 no.
Terminal. Is it not beautiful? Is it not?
Oh, yeah, standard, they're beautiful.
Yes.
Yes. No, airport, I'm working,
can't beautiful.
They are one on yet into where they are broaching.
New York is the same plan. So I call that.
New York.
All they say is big.
Hey, New York.
I'm
telling you about
it is big, but the concept is the same. The concept is the same. Yes. Now, at any rate, if you take that money, now the ABB say, you know the number of jobs are created.
Okay, into honorable. No, back to my question. I say, NDC ni MPP under Fourth Republic. Muna mwedi o mana so. O can say about say, Malaysia etumi aya mo mana asesa. Amo me create jobs. Mranti ene maba nyina ewu adwuma mo ye. Singapore ye bi. O kan yo.
Yes, we can.
64 years muna Ghana ye we. Emu fa kese no of the 64 no. Mo NDC ni MPP na mo chafa. Aden na mon sesa o man shebre emi enye se NDC ayi Malaysia and Singapore.
Yes.
Honorable na oni omotu o. And 64 years ikra ye kan technically no. NDC mo kra mo nya mo more years che MPP. MPP for wie omo term ya e na omo ne mo be ye pe.
Mama enka ye recent past.
The recent past. Honorable me enko from 57. Ankroma ba ye, buzi aba ye. Free fanom ba ye kotokanom ne ade besi e champon so ne ade besi ne aden na ye de ye nye se Malaysia diagnose mama once you have found the problem aden na leadership ni nyina no mon solve problem ma Ghana ye nye adwuma because nkoma ko jaye adwuma onabo ojaye vako ojaye sanyo ojaye chese me tema hoyi anwuma ni nyina degu
GTMC
dia na mo ye onabo dia na mo ye
enta make a chiro say medical historical background Kwame Nkrumah.
Wo se me enko ho. Abanti ko fa ba wo se me enko ho.
Me enko post independence because that time you
control. Okay, yo.
No, but that's still relevant, but I hear you.
You benya your independence. What have we done?
Okay.
Because gold no answer, diamond no answer.
Okay.
Omu tuya mfanko. Na dia kan ye bo ho ban.
Okay.
Anytime we started from Nkrumah, said that type of leadership or the my while working, every place there was a company.
What happened?
What happened is they ran it down. And she say Rollins buy or you say or privatize. In my opinion, I never agree to that because I believe in this public-private partnership.
Okay.
No sooner the trend of the day, and he say, and they are called private. And he gave all this to the private. Many of them did not continue. Oman twa edumana so. Medumani gui. Because these multinationals said they are okay. Or no, or penny enti adwuma no opese oye bi wo abrochi ho a na obeto de na obe collapse no na ne de no a survival and that was the problem we had na eno ebamu na MPP so ba on say the government has no business doing business enti on here private and people did not have money among for nisika na obatumi dey establish a company a ebetumi afa nimpa
but no but dey ntina among for nisika na omo de be.
Men not just after independence, and Nkrumah who say individual Ghanaians no, you need sika, you better establish companies.
Because I brought from Komuja iska.
There be sky di jay no.
Enough.
Enough.
Okay.
Individual. The money was not for individuals.
Or it was for mine no.
Or mine no.
Okay.
And individual, you say, young privatization, individual need sika would be a company. I'll bet me a funny paper 20. And that's the reason why Nkrumah sadia young public. Na obianya you because government no sika but when they establish big companies afenipa that was the idea and you can slowly as people became rich naka private people so eba na mama sa historical background say no e dey na yenye say na make sure say
there be honorable men jumping where say who can say leadership ka ho na who can say on President Rollins so cry anya adwene so privatize here but into beja to say from after Nkrumah bani nyina leadership no ma faili Ghana for nti na ne ye nya adwuma ye no
setio emra Nkrumah free ho no na other governments buy ma eniema say kura gigu so Rollins
enya asema nka we should compartmentalize it
yes
Nkrumah free ho no factory to do sign no jaye buzi an ne dan kwa o mo koye no factory do sign no so jaye champion no ne ade so buy ya
over 600 factories 600 chairman refer actually over 600 factories emra a champion no buy they continued na
a champion one time na factories ni ahe na wo
the same
the same number of factories
Nkrumah factories no they kept it yes
internet just a problem ne share from a champion ko ye no
a champion no time no
SMC
na oba running ade ne down on say enema say
why see he maintained it to I feel so running it down
there be o maintain factories who maintain no nchire say factories running profitably
okay
and if the enema be ye basa na kalabule ni ade ba ya ma factories ni kura no na they could not produce
okay
obo say na ho they produce ye tua workers ni kakeke and no ne demise started by ya and if the Rollins by na say you were at the lowest ebb factories in yadwuma twin tua workers ni ka kire government subvention ye di tua ka and ono so ne dia no ye say if we are running the factories na say factories no ye twin run dia and ye farmer private. His idea was good, but me, in my opinion, there would have been another way. Senka, yamma farmer management, private consultant management, no more maintain at a fee. People do that. I don't know, yadima private no, bebrena and survive. Bebrena kenningly no, running again down. No Rollins mima economy SRPK back because that ye caught negative, cry or negative. Into buy structural adjustment no and a man buy economy and it was not that bad except say many jobs were lost but and no every year in the factories no maybe and a year a free ho Kufo buy no and the policy say the private people no should run the individual
but Kufo buy or better factories and saying some factories no matter when you
na
inti na just say aduma any ho no a lot of it na ndc mo na mo ye because out of me kind president Rollins there 19 years plus Professor Mills President Mahama 8 years o de ka ho that is 27 years old
Dabi say oka say
but say how can say President Rollins beton factories no
be yes
diversity implementation
yes because diversity because oka there na is a champion on the run at the end because
okay into no any choice be about to
you
sell
had
it
no choice the factories negu you tua workers ka and the government tua ka into what do you have to give it out
okay
yes into enya ono na mum ema when su ba no oye no o ma structural adjustment program e be ma economy no eyeye pick up rolls the ma country no turning around whether we like it or not yes and Kufo buy no also continue with this privatization say individuals yes a government the government has no business doing business and the private people no na ye and the private so no na private ni ye and we say the government a ma enabling environment una be water una be electricity na private individuals no actually take advantage low electricity low water tariff and good roads and the investors these things have been lacking me when Mahama came no he said no these things are very vital for the growth of the economy and he let me take some loan get these infrastructure in place. University of Ghana Medical Center. So I call her that.
Yenya Jampia ba. I was here to me solve the puzzle. I was here to me solve the puzzle between time my champion mo e collapse companies na President Rollins buy who say oya ho hwe enye ye e was oton ara a oton ye no so amwa kosi President Kufo de so because me person find the solution say ye den so that we'll go back to say eduma na be den ye creative bia man
no we have moved away from this government
led
okay you know it's a one district one factory na ye sham normally that die because government say no business government has no business doing business why should you please say one district one factory obey one district
but some say private sector led
that is not what they told us. Omuka say they will do one district one factory now you na abeya I don't know what say this should be a factory because private person on the decide where to build the factory. Nearness to raw materials, nearness to water, nearness to electricity, all set up factory. You consider these things. And the private person will pay the profit. And your government have catches every district to site a factory. And it was political get on yes on Bayama factory be a factory. On Bayam who is any no say I didn't say private factories no factions no okay ama na no na me just
ana wato mama onu abe mamre mu ansa na yakọ back to because mpese ye na be find the solution yes maybe na we start in say oh no mu na mo go parliament honorable say mu nye expert o mu ye expert o mu na mo parliament a mo hyemra mu na mo direct policy ade na che a mu na mo betimi atene aban say ba bi okọ na hot road say 1D 1FDA ya wo catch aban say adwen na ye good but strategy no dey buy no cry wrong from beginning nti mu na mo direct ye ni parliament nti ni ato aban mo say mo but that is why but that is why parliament is there to check the executive. See who give you up now kase mo am parliament mo nye expert na je say ye tifie de na sankwas ya yire mo kra our only hope is parliament say mo be check aban we create jobs wa share bo so be create jobs ti whether on the private sector na be collaboration say nkroma de ya wo kan yo so ono na be lead you say there we don't care we just need the jobs but to honorable to bo throw points in your mama obani na wo person we
yeah two quick reactions. The first one, Kwame Nkrumah was an amazing leader. He's actually one of the people I personally look up to, right? But we still understand that getting to the end before the coup, there were problems because of the same global politics at Mr. Tifri, and because he was fighting a system that is bigger
than him.
His agenda, which is now a thing, African Free Trade Continental Agreement, which should as much be a priority, because you understand that market sizes. Se sebi meton cocoa, na se meton cocoa to 180 million people in Nigeria. And yet the same time meton cocoa, Ghana meton cocoa to 30 million people. Your size matters, right? And so we understand that because he was fighting systems that were global in nature, there were bigger issues. But the bigger problems happened around the 70s, right? Where it is documented that between the 70s there were big economic problems, led through the 80s and as we're saying the FinSap and things like that. The bigger problem we should be asking ourselves, and I think Zoe Bisa asked our question, how has our leaders over the years not solved the problem? And Minyayanka honorable is our question, right? Because I was say sebi you can't Ghana. Even though it's a nationalism that was given to us, even we say Africa, it's not the landmass. Nipa ne womno. Inti Ghana is only minoti Ghana ye ankra na ye wo Ghana mu. Inti ye kase Ghana ye bibia. We're invariably saying that the people of Ghana are. Mpacho they make what I say. Inti say ye kase Ghana is a poor country or Ghana is unemployed. It's not that landmass is nothing. Eye nipa ankra na wo mu no ene ye bibi. Inti I beg to differ say a government and solve the problems. Eye nipa ankra na wo man ni mu no ene solve the problems. Menene ya doing however to the point that nipa ni leadership, and that leadership contributes to setting the rules, setting an agenda, setting the pace, setting the direction, and all of that. I completely agree. Say leadership is extremely important, but we can also not take away. Say ankra no na ye o mine. Say Ghana Afia, and yet Ghana land no na every.
But when you say example, no, they might say Singapore, Malaysia. No, they say Singapore. Say chewing gum now the two form crime rabbit because leadership now you say I just swim raw man. I mean, I'm no so I diama. Why wouldn't him say Mrani be do? Ghana for a king. You drew higher to near Mato Abontina. Well, this was new JFK. And money timpos on you because on him say, hey, I broach it.
Those people who change, there's a document, one, right skill for the right people, meritocracy. Okay. Into sebi,
and whom you know.
And who you know.
It's the same leadership.
Near money bia sebi, I'm a catcher amount for some a first degree actuarial science. 11 years back to back I've been studying. But near money be a haunimo bia emaso. And found who need your unim. Into these were countries who were conscious, say, the best man for the best job, irrespective of partisanship. And Mimi Susisa partisanship is one of our problems. Because Sebi, MPP has great people, NDC has great people. How can't we have a government of the best brains running Ghana? Why can't one party see the best in the other? And why can't the other party see the best in the other? we're almost structured like it's impossible for NDC to see the best side in MPP. NDC is impossible for them to see the good side in. That's why I said, Nkomo way, I'm not a politician. And probably if it were meant for the political talk, we could have had it. But me a politician. Mimi Susu say, unless we understand that we can collaborate, not sebi the best man for the best job, we are not going anywhere. He spoke about pragmatism. Pragmatism was the way. It was neither socialism or capitalism. It's about what works. Some of us are still held on to economic theories that does not work. What works for us? Because we have a culture. You're saying you're very different. Inti empenyinfono anase bi omo ide omo na ja omo no. The question is, how are you making things work? How are you gathering us together? Inti
ba obeja to me say over the years no say the ono on person obeja to me dey ba leaders ya yenye nyina omu nyina amoya enwuma no a enkroma de ja yen ene enwuma na nka yemfa say nyese enkroma kra Ghana japade Ghana enwuma na ya hweso a mesi ne ene say unemployment issue to call 6.68 amokram ka say e bro 6.68 no kra percent no
meja to me say nyina we've been part of the problem even in electing the kind of leaders we have.
Okay.
So leadership by all means. Of course, there is no way we can say Ghana is where it is without the contribution of leadership across board. But also we are all a part of the problem because raw material, the means, which is the skill set and the technology, and then the entrepreneur, which is a kind of thinking, a kind of person. That entrepreneurship, no. Where are the entrepreneurs? In Tisania Mami, and I'm sure that when we come to the solutions, I would have time to break these three things down. Okay. But Yenina and leadership particularly are definitely a cause of the problem.
It's honorable. Yembra back to your current system. You might say from maybe 2016 and now 2012 by year. And then I still young to me solve it. Study Uni Okumeike. And kind of senior MPP, you have the men. Ye come na abrofu nko for guys na na do buy o win elections or call London ko ye meeting ko share ne former classmates oni omo ko school bebre kra bon kokra kra ja ne tinka nimde de mo ne abrofu na ko school e ho na mu bi kra mo ye adwuma mo de aba both NDC and MPP what can very well party you all have the men. Chade ni entumi nyese Malaysia, ade ni entumi nyese Singapore.
Yo me da.
Jemna ye modern
me da se bigini se obema me kwai ma de me kan maka.
I say aba modern we enti e ho na ye duro.
Yo. Ni na say ya fa democracy. Democracy no different ideas towards the same goal. There is nothing wrong. MPP more ideas, NDC more ideas. You can't say two ni mix it. No, there's nothing wrong with that. Competition bring out the best in the people. And MPP inform ideas mra, NDC inform ideas mra. What dey anye here I come and do it. Sana abrofia ye no because ye system na ka say ye ja guru na fia be fa we let us move with that. Democracy let us dey okay dey ye democracy no. Union government a champion prefer and yenko. That is not possible now.
I'm not even talking about union government. I believe in democracy through and through, but it's that
through and through because MPP want my ideas. Enti me nko ka ho na me nko fa ideas because the make say me ye no. Ebi any of my ideas no enhia. Even though we are all heading towards the same goal.
But can you have a meritocracy in a democracy?
I know democracy no say na na do wo hoyi na so ya obi ti ne Flagstaff house ho ye hu so wagisika na your man a bribe, the person is still there. That's meritocracy. And you know now you can blame him, not me. Uncle Ford, your mobile as minister see. Me no can say meritocracy. No, or no nim Crawford or the best people in MPP. And they do selecting one. And you me and I because selecting at the amano. I didn't can a leadership. Enter me more example say recent past Mahama Bai. Or no believe we say infrastructure a very key to our development and employment. Now, Mao Airport, you take a loan, you build an airport. The airport is going to pay for itself. Uba employ a lot of people. Ufa University of Ghana Medical Center. Say Miyama Koho. Near Koya no share the buildings. Nipa kebefa. Anya kebet me employ nipa be 6,000. It is left there. Uko a rich hospital. It is under capacity. Obokono nipa no yenye full. Enti ka betimi aye. Enti these are a year buy me bet me a faso reduce employment.
I'm going to go back to the graph. Randy, moment show graph ni bi na me tell because na unu abema say you too much of politics. This is 2010. 2010 that was the time my President Kufuor exited or day baton on my Professor Mills. Your unemployment rate was about less than even 6%. 2012 President Mahama Bai unemployment omo ano mu nya adwuma nya na ekosoro about 6%. 2014 na san kosoro bio 6.3%. 2014 na ko 6.4%. 2016 ye to abahe e ko 6.5 no 6.7%. 2012 2015 2016 oh. Until 2017 and a bar form to 6.6%. 2018 and a we pay a solution the entire adwumani ho because by 2014 2016 you say dey na satan na mo na mo wa abam dey na mo ye ya unemployment rate no cost ro na dey so na mo ye no 2014 e ma nipa dodo a ono mo nya adwuma nya no dey e ho na slightly lower about the compare previous graph na ho kra na e cost ro. So what happened between 2012 2015 2014 2015 2016 yeah unemployment rate now arise here until 2017. I think that is the issue we should speak to.
Okay.
I think na omo anu omo ni adwuma ye no increase steadily from Professor Mills time to President Mahama time irrespective of that project here na wo kan nyina yi
sir oya project it takes time na odi ehun results no obi abache che me kan no does it make sense or not ntika o ja me kwan e ma me kan then we compare with the because what about who say your unemployment rate no ekosoro. What do? I don't have money. I take a loan. Loan, maybe me 10 years time, the rate will start to come down. That's the problem. Because you can't take one year to solve the unemployment rate. Okay, so you be said na oh yeah na. Bon say e be shoot you up because you are borrowing. But borrowing no, e be ma unemployment rate akosoro. But after some time, it should come down. Enter me sure say ni me bia na ye. Uhwe sa 250 ye blocks na in my village e bi si ho na se say ni kra na e wo ho no how many people na employ say teachers we training college they can't get job niti say usisi oji loan now this is sa schools ya we are you know the number of people teachers be employed caterers be employed workers be employed ni ade. So you gradually reduce your unemployment rate, no.
So now, what you say unemployment now at so year 2017 2018 a year, and you ma momo year no, and no fast one MP before be who years that time.
What we say, Ameri, nickel power. That time na ya ma fede
Dumson ejai.
Because Dumson na capacity. Kwame Nkrumah ye Adam, the fair bin kan. And every year it was every I think 4-year cycle. Until Mahama Ka said he will solve the doom so once and for all. No for Cal Power ni American at the buy. Until now they were blaming Mahama say if the over capacity. And Mara Kwame Nkrumah ya koso bodam no. In fact it's it's why I must serve for 20 years. That is foresight. Mahama buy no wajibe bre amaya monti now no if you are going to have factories your problem enye electricity. Nti waje no e wo honom ena yeguso. Enti yanya electricity no yanya ye babio a ba factories will not have any problem with electricity. Na OC schools waje loan OC schools. When buy no schools na on buy free SHS no. They na they send people there and employ teachers. Hospitals,
okay.
No? Yes, hospitals, nurses, no. Hospitals, Mahama SCC, Rich Hospital, Oko Dodowa, Oko Hininano. They employ nurses. And it will bring the.
I can't a moment time. No, my employ nurses. No, na ma
na say
Nibadura Munya Jumanya Nemma.
Na say fe dana wu we no. University of Ghana Medical Center. See ye we no ye miano.
We first phase pay.
First phase.
Second phase.
First phase. They am fed pa. If you na ye employ nkrofo. Me to be frank me ba or doctor go US omo employees nko ma kire physiology yes or obstetrician and gynecologist so nko ma kire physiology doctors near found Ghanaian doctors are nko ma ba every month aba rani you know I met them in the US some time ago that did not materialize abai ba ojan ho and a later I'm for Casawana or employ binum. And the cry is not a full force. And Jabama rate number fem. Secondary school is offer Bama be number fem. Hospitals be brainy a jano. There's been won't be in Jababa fem.
Okay.
Light, no electricity, no I solve you know. Company best start here produce and the unemployment rate in the buffet. Okay. After that, what have you done? I am stagnant. And when a rate of change into a cost, maybe number of people employed near the same, but the rates no and assistant. Okay. Tubong said they are not building any new school, they are not building any new hospital, they are not building any new roads.
Which means that see a cranny check and come more money my construction we
more physically, more saying. Yes, but rate need the say any former one adults I pay. But number of people of that time now almost year employed new this time. Okay. But this time people are increasing. Okay. But the rate is the same. Okay. The rate is the same. It has become worse.
See, I can't nominate numbers no cry. Yes. 2020 numbers. Bro. Yes. 2016 they exactly. School no doors. Okay.
But you are not doing anything. And to me you say government person or be solution is say yes mixed economy bio. Then what is the responsibility of the government? Government is say oji sikanwa fire investment a bet me ama a producer yi. Now the current a plane. Now every day you have 15,000 per hour, 15,000 pounds per hour. Why do you think that the unemployment rate never fam? Abrofu Chancellor Kohl also one Germany World Cup. Orban of a private jet or the buy. Or call back no. I'm a British Prime Minister or the plane buy. And and or the call. You see how they survive. What is wrong, sir? Your president. What is wrong, sir? Your president. Oh, too kind. Now offer British Airways first class. Odi empo jinkonwa miensa. Oh, your president. Na tutu dem obi antna won chen. Na fa first class fako enye na oko high private jet na bro no be sa and these are some of the problems
anything that make us say sometimes na amanyesem no I'm tempted to come in because me kai pa say na me show president Rollins time okay na omo radio program be crossfire na do ajawo ne kakresa mo na omo ye omo say president say ne plane no odi tu kwan no a flying coffin into Okotofofo. Okay. Over the years, more even under President Rollins called no yes. Conservative socialist. Or no crack or plane. Yes. It is a more jais as a minor as a policy. Some more parliament, Mashem say free nail Ghana. My president be a ma or no betoni plane. And no money by money plane. Obian fly Ghana Airways. They said they are Britain. Yes. British Prime Minister, no fly British Airways. Exactly. It is a Ghana, so you say. Ghana yen take Ghana Airways ni yen pedi for bian fly Ghana Airways ya saka be baba over the years mo NDC mo MPP mo nyina mo ba no makoto we akoto fa hwan
ya ka say we say sia no ko fa NDC
yes because you free baby who say you kunu abema kuma kan say there's always a history and you say nanado sorry an okoto private jet Munyina mo ba and I more classic example me kwada me students at the time me kai pa say do aja oni ka kresama clash over and the president will not fly the flying coffin at the time that was the name
I mean you
it had as on mine no say Malaysia and Singapore and then yen share national agenda say o man we dey yeah to say Rwanda yeah o man no ba wo your man peni no your hwan yo o meye o personal yen na ye fly Ghana Airways upo Ghana Airways ni fly. Enke Ghana Airways wo e man ka fam rantie over 1,000 people. Yatna ma Ghana Airways yagu. And ya de be politics and another fly. Mummi enu nyina da. Exactly. In the 64 years of Ghana's independence. No, but today also a politician. Abrantie one politician.
Oh, Ghana be a politician.
One politician. But the truth of the fact that is that more NDC motor
Mami kasa bi besro.
O za hori de o yi free mu na o kan na do de
free me you ano me you ano it is good say nka Ghana Airways e wo hwa me ye marine engineer me tanya o Black Star Line and I'm selling Black Star Line see the ship no ko abrochi na after Black Sea ship mo said the many age fully blacks here running vessels now it was one of the beautiful ships na running around we ran it down and it collapsed.
Okay.
So, oh, I'm sure your conversation, no, a best shift.
That's the conversation. That's the conversation.
Private investor because I don't know so Bama Black Star Line Bioma. You best say Gunu.
Exactly.
Vaco. Yani a Vaco. And I brought economy. Oh, yeah, Jadi Ama Vaco. And never Vaco. Ye Vaco can you poke and all find your Jumano. Me ya people be my president mama or tell kunyaso about over 2 million jobs and kaya de ba konkwa ebe create in the accelerated aluminium process no yatina wono mama ba ko sisi aka ne sentrepe ene tua ya fo say ye yo but generations na di echi ne ye bo mabro
o ka
enti e was bibia ba honorable e was e kohwe na anu dey na si ye and so ya ko moving forward
ye can me company Black Star na se ye kan play na
ni na kan we o man na japade o man na be japade ba me yi bi mfrim kan no totally
me yi mfrim play
we free mama de be shemu
play no so one ya top plane presidential jet said you okay Rollins eto plane I think we so Mills eto plane. I will not justify it. To me, you know, me a conservative, me a quabit me off a plane. Sometimes in Africa, no, I am now route to Akobia, you need direct flights. I know you one problem for heads of seats in Africa. I don't justify say auto plane. Now what to cry now and my little justification. But where you can plane no ho. Them plane ya boka atono. Ana Mahama edi tukwan. Na atamel di tukwan no. Ewo ho ya boka. Even though it may not have been good, see a tiska etoye, or black a bit me a private jet, a bit me a public. Ni ato de no ho. Na de so ho and say ye. And what is the justification say your president? Oh, to coin on fast jet na ya boka to. Name oko rent jet, luxurious jet 1 hour, 15,000 pounds. That is the point. And they are different. So, oh, mine now per se, will electricity you correct, or road you correct. Now, investors say, bah, you won't do that. And they are different. You won't do that. Now, young investors say, okay, what channel into the right a year? One way you can fix the country. They are right. Mimi Tiano, my MP, I can't fix the country. The mayor said, I can't say, now can say, one ever. Who say a Japan deal? Who say Japan deal? About Parliament DNA.
Oh, no, men settle questions. Men settle questions.
We want against it.
But men settle question and answer. You perceive a finding solution to 6.8% now. Omuni edumaye no. And one more example about say Omani say sika. For instance, in
President say sika.
President plane here,
President say sika.
But as a member of Parliament, when you is within your powers, you can put an urgent question on the floor of Parliament. President Meche Eka what is the state of hang on honorable, what is the state of your plane back no man penny use no I say then our workshop and so that we will know into no there member ha me complaining honorable to be fair to yenya to me e ma mo sem kotena parliament to be a check on the executive no you give us answers say enya yeah, these are the reasons.
You can't say president.
Honorable, back to job creation. Because I want to maintain yes. You see, how do we solve the problem? A branch article, which is the reason why I'm a dinner buy. There be who deviate and how to copy a plane. Plane is not creating jobs for us. Sika is not creating jobs for us.
Sikana and Cadiba infrastructure.
I want to honorable Pacho. My mammy yes, I'm no debate. All right. I want honorable Mema Wejuma as a member of parliament. Mo resume sitting here, go to parliament and fight for us. Say Sikano Mampeni, washing us and pass washena. Omebu one conta. And Sisa Oma, Moon chasing and Namonye. Namo family, near Vanya 1D1F Nebako. That is my homework. For young electricians, now you did to me, mamma say, Munkot na parliament. Yankasa Munkoya, you. Yasamon Cornamon check it a bind, said about only rough. Or your excess, now you need to me, you 2 million rule you will check government. So that's your homework. Okay. Okay, but to say, a Jumana working. Oh, who say taxes. Who increase taxes are because certain countries Japan tax rate is very low. What my dear say give tax relief to companies ma employ scan and can be tax no employ crop as you employ the people indirect tax income tax okay and you won't company directly and that's what we are doing here. Taxes no endorse tax yen kan wasem parliament emra am de budget ba ya debate tax. I was saying this year sorry. And yet they pass the tax.
And to me as an MP no, my family, what did you people do? You pressman, what did you do? Did you take it up? Say NDC for your rights. Say taxes here too much.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry.
Wow, with the parliament, to crowd to me, baby, and I press for now. You to me what parliament.
You come majority.
To me what parliament.
You come majority, no, a pass. Majority, no, a pass.
It is a more minority. Come to me and solve and stop it. The passage of the tax law. Yeah, tell Bontain, I gatekeeper. Any best me out of it. Any can't best of more money on Motion. Mokan, crowd, walking out of stop.
Pressman,
no. Money are buying. And then you pay solutions, honorable. Solutions.
Solution American say taxes no.
Okay.
You're more.
Okay.
I buy you person create jobs sir. Bring down your taxes. Now everybody say how about taxes is killing people. And how do you create a business? Okay. Yeah, they say yeah direct sikano yeah na say no. Now give the people back the money.
Okay.
Say taxes no indirect on tria. Now obey adwuma na ni profit e dose no. No,
remember back to you. Still on the solutions because I know they must see about find the solution.
I wanted to make it.
Yeah, but more than say and Sabeka Honorable Ignatius Balfour, we are Minister for Labor Relations. I see an education common here. Even this minimum wage issue, no, you see an education common now. You better labor experts. We say no, say was an education common on the phone. Near who are same way and the solution say. You man kakra na ho no cry. World Bank ne ILO reports on cry say 50% of say human cry underemployment because nyeni panim die abodin ne nsa no djuma no wonye no ho adwuma ene ho pay ene oje de eba fom but on abon me pese be se me no ochuma so onim se wo ka taxes asemi and this mobile say taxes o man te so port no again mobile mo the import duty import levy 1% import levy including the model to second so cardless condom so mo the bit so I remember very well mo ka say me amene ato force in your interview the taxes were supposed to last for 18 months more the VAT to financial transactions so the idea was then can be generate sika now bind they solve some of the problems like doom so and they can ensure or the way ya kwan no ne ade nyina nti member also back opani when I watch for instance first now person come be with
yes I just
want to come back to article now to our propose solutions a bit me dey aboa no
just before we started I was telling you say in 15 years na minya accident the question is I was volunteering for a group who were going to do community work and evangelism when I was in UCC first year. So we were basically going to serve a small town in Chivopras called Bettemore. And I've been involved in youth and volunteer work for the last 15 years. You see, and why am I starting from there in order to react to what Honorable said?
Financial analyst,
but engineering terms. Because I'm engineering terms.
But the because I'm making say, on mine no, Kosi say you bring a national agenda, fix the country. I think I wrote an article, and my only dimension is. No politicians, I bear cycles of 4 years. Per solution in the long term, we must have a national agenda run by an institution coming from with approval of all the state, run by people who are technocrats. In a national, non-partisan way. The only thing I want to say is, you bet me party A, party B, back and forth. But I don't think say in the long term it solves anything because at least we've tried over the years. But my only contribution is to say whether it's party A or party B, we need to have a national agenda. And I guess my message to the youth, having been involved in youth work for the last 15 years and consciously looking say in the next 5 years, we would directly train and be relevant to 5 million youth in Ghana. The goal is that the youth should raise. In the next 5 years, 5 million Ghanaians we would directly impact in terms of insanujuma and access some knowledge. But the basic I will say a pajan common fee party A, party B. And I think
man you're saying free mo.
But yen pajan common MC party A, party B. Then let's have the conversation on the merit of it. Any youth listening to this, I guess the primary message, they say, Ajuma, whatever the conversation in Ghana, it's high time we stop the party A, party B conversation. And as a youth, we lift the conversation to a place that we are more interested in the long-term solution in the interest of the country. And the moment if we don't have a long-term view, and come on, say, you 4 years, now, it doesn't solve much. It may solve the symptoms, but I think that it's high time the youth rises up and understands it's not violence, it's not any of that, but it's knowledge and skill, and we need to raise the conversation above partisanship.
Okay, but you go back to solution.
So back to the solutions, yes.
I'm not saying don't bet me raise the conversation, but the honorable so can say yempo penifo no mudi anymore. Woman Nigeria taxes. Woman no manage show almost. Woman kasi yenko left a year call left. Woman kasi yenko right a year call right. Say see o try to be na kasi na katete kwa no. Before no ko mu to omo ko kwaso meche ombenye yi mo mo yesen ko omo bie bie omunwuma na brofo no ko hye no. Say see solutions. Ye better ni alcohol mom ya de na wo ka say Black Wall Street.
Yes.
Before sikafo a omunwuma te say ye yera Dr. Osekwame despite for his support no ade because ye hunu politicians here adwuma ebe say ebe ye say ya de omo ye NDC say MPP say watch na crowd woni ko me kai say NDC abreso RLG buy because MPP buy power RLG why company who for so beba ubon say ayensu start factory na the MPP free power o na adwuma no kofom she recommend sugar factory na ke betimi afa work so NDC free why adwuma afekwa de say e be evaluate ni aton che say ye de amanyosem ye de adwuma no show mo nsa de a NDC ni MPP ombagu no nti ye better ni yetumi ama private sector na whatever strategy ye betimi de ebi enwuma na mranche ne maba enya bia ye
the dekan Misusu say collaboration is the first gateway. But because the trust, again, even Sika fundamentally a GDA, the trust system is the number one thing. Before Mukodi, Oklahoma, Tulsa, Timmy, Baby, and Numa, to a point that it was called the Black Wall Street. These were communities, Sebi, Omuka say we are carpenter ni, na se mihia carpenter ni wo mifia. Menkoto akonya wo China o ye carpenter ni a de bia meka say book me no ametwe ye say ade say nka me print free China na India nka the cost would have gone down, but deliberately against all some of the advice we printed the book in Ghana. Kokomlemle haya, both of them we could have imported at a lesser cost. Both were printed in Ghana by my own assistant.
Quality.
Both of them were printed in Ghana.
See.
And those are my books, right? The question is, as a businessman, it would have made a bit more sense to take the money because margins na mepe. And I could have sold it for cheaper. But for the purposes of a certain communal trust, both books were printed in Ghana. Both of them
was standard no kama enim da ho.
It's not like you need skill and now we don't have the competence. But again, it comes to the control of the supply. And Sebi, most of the people say a tech hub. You can say Accra Digital Center, amazing example. If we have private hubs where people, most of our financing has become debt, into debt financing, bosia. But a bigger part of business is run on equity. And I say Sebi, enye bosia but me de me ho abehye adwuma no mu nti me capre ni o sempo anye yanka mom ni anya adwuma no mom, right? Nti say me papa and honorable tia or by dint of experience and exposure he knows people, he has things I don't have. The youth, if he partnered with the youth and said that and but they said age has what strength youth doesn't have, and youth has no resources the age has. Inti say ye can bom ne say oh ye mbia adwuma na wo de wa hoden ene unim dia ne wu omrante sem no dia animu me de menyansa gathered over the years, me the exposure gathered over the years will push this business. I think we could have done far more. I think that we can create a bit more hubs through collaboration, both government, private, both among ourselves. Youth, 5 people your friend is saying dispatch business. What stops us from creating one dispatch business where we all have 20% of a bigger business than having 100% of zero? Into fundamentally, I think that we should create a system where we can trust each other to work more together. That's the only way you create the multinationals. Because sebi, it's impossible. How do we collaborate? Capital and I sebi jiweko say afu to be and change jiweko ejuma nti ye ka say nyina no bi aka say mofra na youth mo beji we nko ejuma nka asem ni nyina asa. Okay. You know,
yeah, back so on the solutions, but to be fair, the digital center here, okay, NDT, and on your money boy, mama breast communication, and on me, say, young pebe being see one of my a one-stop shop for digitization.
And that's amazing.
Now. And Besine, Omukra to me a beer or map outside there, sir. Oh, program cry na IT program.
Amazing example.
To the be a weekend, normally a man for no ma saying other revenue. E betimi aboa mo ma maintain no mo san kodan aban say aban na emphasica mechim ti no say one good example.
Amazing.
But the major point I can here no ye say e be pejan komo no ama ye politics no pa ba for mo a eno ni asem no ono obutie ye ode ye nyina fa politics and wo ye
also ye
e wo say nye den a o ka bibi di tia also ye no mu say yes mo na mo tia konya mo anya ni ye but yes we padwuma mamrante nto no ye mra back to solution no a waka say taxes one of the solution am say ye better taxes nso na me busa wa asem back say taxes ye te so a ukro mu ayi akwan no ya wo constituency fo susun so ono aboba yi kolobi ni enya akwan ye be de ne aye kwan bi wo hono ma bia nka ban te taxes nso a obetimi a leverage wo baby for obetimi de aye niema foforo a ye oman a ye sin free ye developing country de ye wo haw ne amane hunu bi a adrofo no mu ni bi to omo tete taxes so se Japan de ye a wo kana Korea hono ye understandable omu ni road bi afi no omo ye ba ye dwabo so yi ya sante adanse amanse ayi nkran ha yi kra na ka kwan kra si moto we expire ye be de ne no so yetumi aye ho adwuma
yo enia taxes na ye ka no wo te taxes so a in effect no why increase your taxes. Okay. Say adwuma ho what taxes so fuel what taxes so ripple effect in the economy no e be my business akọ high business ko higher obetua workers no one income tax no obetua and if you have employed more people tax na nka wo gene direct no this are very indirect and you may even get more than say wo gene direct because direct tax na ye no yes spending no ebini me kan say politics awa eno so dey ye free mu da wa be jibi sika o so be ye na dey afa plane wo dem na empani ade wo na wada na ebiom kra put me down
air condition bo no
wo da wa na plane ya to fe wo bunu mu ni fe bo da dey o ya em so o dey the belt bodu mu
ora be ye mon ko bo no
ko ni ye bo taxes na wo gene direct taxes no sa na ye dey ye na mum no o ma taxes ni ko fam na amanfo ye adwuma you take the same tax from them even more because you employ more people in the system. Yes, intinya say bia tax no direct na require road. That is not proper management.
I say omoji indirect tax be so.
But
say taxes here mo increase your parliament.
Yes.
Omo approve it indirect
because and the council unemployment no. Nipa bebre no enya adwuma. And say bia kan no oje tax from nipa 100 ho. Na oche tax so corporate tax na dia oche so. Now say e employ nipa 1,000 be to tax and in effect no the obenya no about more than the direct one na oje no that's my policy and eno no e wo ho in terms of government is responsible hwe emra aban we buy hwe banks a indum makura se wo nyina na indum ni bank bi ho GN bank wa gunu nyina wa guno wa bra sika nka da wo di shem kura se assuming say they were suffering sika nka da wo di shem now support indigenous banking no a less than sika wa borrow now they good bank no does it make sense look at the foreign bank this way banks are nanka eboa number of people are what collapse banks in mama kogufie so the problem is with us it's with leadership and me bank no me to of ama and how to buy no good say anyuma nyina and so I can say okay we say napco obey politics we say policy napco what is the sense emra buy me kan say we Ghana sika emrante amunyi bi because one years can em fam ho nti odi ese kotena ba bi ne em sika it is good but in the long run
job creation
in the long run no the ripple effect here because what for be adwuma or graduate in economics also uncle Tsana hospital now uncle assistant. It is not a job under employment even here can nurses so why you school omutifie omunya adwuma. So if you really need nurses, why don't you employ the nurses?
Okay.
No mko adwuma. Napkofoi ebi no ho we national service. No what no about 800 say jamon 500 something. Now we employ teachers na we school na omunya adwuma no. Na permanent onko ya adwuma. Na mon policy nti ayi a omuye no independence square ho. Sikane enuane ne agro ne ade omudi ye no. Edo so sene sika kura nka de betu akrofo ne ka.
Nyama mienu a.
Pandemoni ayi na madempo ayi a omuye no ho no. Yempo inauguration omuye ye no.
Inauguration be ya.
Napko mura mo ye napko frɛ all the way can be good fair no ni ade
yeah omo launch no ni ade okay
sika ye said wo mu no these are the things I you take the taxes and use it in this way it doesn't solve the problem
it is one of your main issue ni ye said ye de ye Ghana ye tax eye adwuma ene kwan a employment ko a ye see ye create no yada ne short term instead ke be no exactly mo anke no nipa ni nya adwuma onim say adwuma afebo
say na ko so number of people rather no teachers and nurses go fear omunya adwuma say half kura na between the employer and they will reproduce in the system na ya benyen madam kofui okwa ba bia no oni knowledge no ti ho and no say so a ye tua nka now abaya I create here is oni nyina ka unemployment na o ka say o mo buy no a shoot course because all these people were considered as employed which just false and yet nakodie no okay so thousands of this in where your employment who ba sabi o be person o be ma we permanently but in the face of nothing odu anu kobo say ade ne nya e be chiwawe it is okay Ghana ska musumu ni bi but and back say yeah discuss say unemployment no abeye problem e dey am because abofra na we school na onya adwuma o man 500 na e dey na do 2 years 3 years
okay ona bo say unia kuma ka sembi say yen rise ade no yen raise conversation above NDC ni MPPD now one of the points I know kan say you benya institution obeye national agenda because anapko ade president Kufuor time na banredu say mobile phone taxi omuyi na te say the okay ye free mobile phone so a call no mum no consumption tax no maji e was no mo de koye youth employment NDC mo buy under Professor Mills mo ntwam mo expand no kwa for e bi kan ho president Mahama buy no mo sade other eyi kra be kan ho models be kan youth in there youth in drumming youth in smoke youth in there ni nyina na short term employment point am make anti me do nua kuma yi be mu ne say waka say enka ye institution be private ye ankronkro ye state institution e na all hwe so a and ke nyina nka at least over since president Kufuor time be si ne ke yenke ye twam afri short term eduma na obi aba e bia napko de 2 years na ye uni so ne ye de amanyosem ye create jobs say they said the NDC mobile mutual green book nim say mo create jobs 18,000 yeah nei hwa unemployment rate baby e na ma wo kra ka say be say 70% ye hu 18,000 jobs na wo napko de ye hu baby e wo still unemployment e wo honum ye wo private institution enya amanyosem ene ye wo national agenda to say NDPC for the year mo be yi NDC ato nchen mo yi MPP ato nchen say Singapore ne Malaysia mo de national agenda ne ko wo manim yenso yenko yenim yempanyuma mamrante ne maba yi enye say the next 20 years ye hunu say technical skills na be boayen ye training mechanical engineer say boys say fitafo say the ba Volkswagen ni Nissan fo yi ba on benya boys ene o ma ye adwuma ye training adepamfo say the be push fashion industry na ago yi yetumi ama eno ne conversation unfortunately said the honorable ye ya unu ana MPP for so dinapko ye politics o mo so said okay o mo hie sika that is akwakoya amanya say 2 years na won team concern now you are back to the same unemployed people but when member o chebi honorable member on that issue
me no honorable ya adwen won yama mi no so which is the tax policy also of the view say fiscal policy should drive production rather than stifle it inti say ejije o mine bia no you say o mine no ye yo mine no nature taxes but for a country where minimum wage is 13 is
per day
13.52 per day, which is $2.1 a day. In US, federal is about $7 per hour.
Ebi mu cry more, ebi mu 10.
That's federal law, so you can't go below $7 per hour. Some are 10, some are 12. Canada is about 12. UK is about £8 an hour. An hour. For a country where minimum wage is 13.5, $2.1 a day.
A day, a whole day.
How then do you drive an economy with taxes like that? You definitely can't. So the question is, how then do you stimulate growth? How then do you get people to produce more? How then do you get people to earn more? Because to start with, this translates to about 270 or something a month. I mean, who survives on 270 cedis a month? Ghana. It's impossible to. Into taxing is saying, and why your money? You know, into sometimes we want to drive growth through taxes, but I agree with him completely. Say on mining because of peculiarities of where we are now, and yet taxes potting near the better mine. Which means that we may need a smaller central government, which means that government expenditure may have to be smaller, which means all the consequences of politics, which I'll stay out of, right? But, Honorable Sri, saying I'm going to stay out of.
24 minutes, no.
Honorable, I mean politics. Okay. No. But the bigger point is that if we know that tax regimes should enable production, the question is, again, raw materials, the means, and that is where the skill set comes in. Don't forget that COVID has increased the numbers. Don't forget that the future of work means that looking 10 years down the line, 1/3 of it will be lost. So what are the skill sets? We know that education as we have it now is almost dead, if not dead completely, right? Because almost all the cycles going through school, I've been to school, and I think that everybody should go to school. But it is not enough to solve the problems of tomorrow. So how then do we train? Apprenticeship is a way to go. Apprenticeship is a real thing. Inti sebi obia obekwa kosia plumber and obia obekwa koya mechanic. Obia car say o de call her one spend their 400 cedis and crown one spend the car 400 cedis o de car call mechanical. Say onya, if you look at the total volumes of cars, that is a productive industry. Yama school, and because of the blue collar nature of jobs, yes, you say Juma be suche Juma be. Inti na yanko per degree, na yambetna a Juma be mu. But the real production is not found in that. Until we should shift the focus towards production. Production where a Juma be in so chain be. Sebi me a painter. Wow, what a bank unye it's different value provision. Me painted nine, you're also serving customers as a teller. Yeah, two different services necessary for the economy. Into the moments we shift from taxes to production, the national agenda will shift towards a place where government is deliberately, and I say, yeah, the boapayo.
Yes, baby, I was a see any the money the end to be creative.
But the mindset needs to change. Okay. And the policies needs to align with the change of mindset.
It's taxes on said they're not honorable can say
I think that it does not. There are so many nuances, but some and I make a nuance. But in the overall, taxes for a country that is developing is not the way. You need production. So the question is, how do you stimulate production rather than taxing? The second thing I agree with him is financial services, which is one of the things I think that is a biggest problem because
banks, financial institutions,
sister, if you answer na national monetize Ghana and I say this sika near the city and diga sir ko sisa city near yesna unti na dodo say brunid in the pound by unti unya 16 na ebia pound baako right the basics of that and we know that foreign banks started the monetization process no kre wom ne say value bia no uhia sika na odi aye sika make print sika se cia boni kese because kanya media abine there. But the question is, how does the government, who has the right as a sovereignty to make money available in a global context to people to work? How does somebody get 13 cedis a day? How? In common, you know, the question is, it comes down to how do we finance, which is financial services. Into the approach to indigenous finances, I'm always a big person. This book is, you know, that this is on the financial services, right? Into it's
only on our bay again say, yes, started what I did back I am more Ghana or a new my ye be a mamma and my here. And the financial sector now is no trocano. Said ye quite fast way because I know no book and then go for baby so I can say banks be good any idea. But there's also another school of thought says not financial institutions baby so said you know more my man and council. But also no about my new year say Naka ban betting me at net in a woman. Instead, send you a good no. Now
make a honorable yard to the extent that we could have done things far better. Okay. And that's where I
possibly create the now kinds of Black Wall Street and say Bianca Amwabin UT Bank Yafa Capital Bank Bait Capital we money akase mona monye Ghana sika sem no fapem
because you need finances you need it to the extent that we could have done things better. Completely agree with Honorable. Without having to delve into some of the issues because again, if you want to raise a conversation, we'll say higher quite home. And I'm a politician. There are some of the things I would stay out of it. But then I completely agree that we could have done some of the things better. And going forward, we need a strong financial services that is tended towards driving growth as well. Inti Sebi Semioskana me pe hunsi hwa. It's not to the benefit of production. Until we have a financial services that is tended towards stimulating growth in common kakra.
Okay. Abante baako message. Remember, we have any expert baako better train komo yera Arthur or your labor consultant. Now, one of the things and the research our year the abani say Obekaya President Kufuor ba ye no mo ye sabre ne mama chief of staff says here Fremont Pare on na ye minister for labor. Omo ye research bi e ma mrante ne ma ba akosa alai si entro din ne ehwe enwuma ewo ho ensanu djuma wo bebi a wade sua akwakoduro ne ye se betimi amache na report ba abonte no o kan say entete aye wo ene nsanu djuma ye wo no any school aye kono mache enwuma na ewo ho no ene ni hia yera atama ye research bi amoma hu say eye no kre say ensanu djuma for instance technical education ya to na sawram nti no ye penkrofo mesin fo no ne ade kra say Ghana e kofa nkrofo TV Togo ene Benin ene on be ye say adwuma no Bogla proof ni ade nyina ne POP yankofo de in the real estate na Togo ni eyifo na ebeye ya shede guye technical schools ane ya ho so obi anko university nko so political science to be political science department legon kwa over 2000 students or ko private university Central University and Methodist University and HR department ko ho so over 3000 students obi esua HR na ko eduma company ben ake be man nkofo akọ eyi ebi akofo dua eyi poly technical school na poly no cry ada ni universities no mu nyina ye humanities we be ko politics say nkofo sua marketing ade ko tena dwoma na we de ko ye den why company mu na ko ye marketing that's why media ha ye marketing manager one untumi metu no wa be hyem nti we are not even ye infant tie ne nsa no dwuma be boa ti say de na opani wo kan say obi ye mechanic ya nko no anka be bie ni mechanic shop wa fa nkofo be 10 wom na ban kra bia won ko abon no be sia say disca we na wo yi wadwuma na utumi gina na so a wa man nkofo so ne say every day by day kra no mbenya ene ye ne a minimum wage age a $2 1 cedi na do be ko hin ti corruption wi anu na ye be wia ye nyina be ko akotena adwuma ni ye wia de asoso because government is pretending to pay we are also pretending to work krono no to man de Singapore and Malaysia and they forget you know you know what you from top to bottom
you need a
leadership and the people top to bottom and I was yes I kind messages we na fe yenko opani ata ho ne na ntwetwe nkomo ne hwe because the research one mama antidote bi and bibi kakra say na no na labor commission for a platform bi o mo match skills to enwuma ewo honom ba Nana Kwame Opasco e won sa woman sister in fact the system it's just not working. The youth are just crying. Nti bon kanche nanado nomra na afi wo meboaye pa na greetings come honorable Alexander Afenyo Markin. Nanado ni ese oti play mu na oti o cha nanado. And ayi what they saying Nana Kwame Tony Adai and I think NDC even took more loans to boost banks no, but still banks sent to me anye ye. Nti efia bu so honorable ma ese o blame nanado anye ye. Because NDC bosi no come de ma banks no use no ko see saying e dey stabilize bank because baby e bedru na gua na e wo say yegu omo say baby tin ko fos kakra omo etimi afa anye hwe some of pencil no say what's the age of the Korean president. I'm saying we should stop thinking both parties. The youth can do better. Enough is enough. Enhwe ekwan a ye betimi ama youth no abe take over opani youth ya mo de adane ateni ya mo didi atemo social media yi solution be my youth bi mra no my solution say na mpesa me your money ye na mudidi atem there that is not a solution. So until you give us a solution obi anko tell vote into my youth be give us a solution yen for my youth be near say no so ba oba be bibi ama ye na felix ebo no say a time will come where you will not see any youth going to vote in any elections. Selfish and wicked leadership. We want to umbeto ashim. Want to Ghana. Let's say music cry football. Want to umbeto ashim. Adewe. Because Ghana for register in any year too. Say journalists do on my tell be yen to be to yen TV so na dey action. Omo to mayen. Omo wi ahye mama wo. Nti yen dream outside the box yen find this solution a long term. Na won to dey enye solution obeto ama wo. Isaac Eje no si teacher kujo yen suso wo etuobodom adantase. Wasi Ghanaians, in fact, the NDC party in opposition, no, they don't have anything to offer Ghanaians because no who ye na ka say no. NDC opposition na kwa ma solution na. Say me ba me ni say na Ghana for hu. Kwa amde o man be san share unsem. No say enchia enkoma Professor Christopher Amiokunfio incoming national chairman ma MPP for on youth no say ya o incoming one. Munye de 33rd no say Kufuor ne ba omia kan ofori atane ade nyina they have failed in managing Ghana economy. Omuni ade papa biara omde bebo Ghana. Intifu we see Edu Jerry no say this honorable minister pa isn't looking at what Ghana can turn into in the next 20 and 30 years. Politics and ode eye Kwabena Kamuzu was if him lady have completed nursing training college for the past 3 years without work. I've decided say me am a home care nursing business bi kakra na mahwe de hia ne say kamenya capital do take kakra bi anka me de be start na kamenya ma papa me ho adwuma because aban de mahwe nanim a 3 years on fire minim so be fire da chi bi ampo. And Dennis Odenke was the MPP is the worst government ever. Omo ba ye brofun ko awe on betena konwa so anada keke and omo de adada yen Victor Boachi no se ma Afia your politicians so they know but they will never do only talking. Most of our politicians they keep their money in foreign countries. Omudru one omko position no makodi the minimum no ne mo so be solve o man problem there be enya de ombe ye. And Imano Amon was good morning, Vim lady no pan in fact. A Juma topic now, Makofa band, the fantastic topic. Pa, ye hear Juma, Rantin Benebia, Womo Ebeye. Ja bless Adams, no sister, and pay mu ye discussion now. A dear Kuma Supane, Juma Ewahin is the bigger question. I was able to buy. So obey and also be my private sector, and dear Nimino. Ye hear and why every no hopa. Prince Koku, and also if you are Miteo and pay a good job, and I'm your perpetual and Ponsano Sadope, Michao no penny for na ye tio. I shop my sebenya emwaye bi efa Ghana how ne amani hu ayenya efa enyumo so and emma master ebo no saving lady please throw more questions na nkofo no muti studio na they are refusing to speak the truth no kra ne da ho pa so mo pese ombeka Joseph Kobina and o say if you are in Italy here oba if you pay tax and you lose a job okra aban be boa say usika na utu ama no tax obeti bi ato no de aboa Ghana de akwakoye boachi bi edin ye beden ene yetumi ama oman no affect no ho bra ya ye nema etise no na nana hema despite o say Afia happy birthday in advance enko ma nana Kwame Pasco ewo ensawom na Kwabena makan o message na afin Banuel Savage no say NDC any MPP na the same but o de ateni bi so ho de menka wa wo NDC ni MPP na wa kokudo no betimi ahwe say no nkete anim aka che na wankasa wakoka na Jude Mujata no say a total moral breakdown eno na ha Ghana no obia anwene say obeye oman no eyie niama emwa ye nko a na wo mpese omoye no de emwa ye kra Kofi Guno and say no more NDC no more MPP wo mo a na ma oman no enye yim Adama Zabsunur Abdul Aziz na o say keep skipping mpacho o message na dey aka no one fan to so keep skipping there na ka dey associate say yetumi aka ni nyina ama Francis Kwadwo Osan and say Vim lady I wonder why are your leaders wo mo de omo hyedam fo omo sika no ma dwene nko technology any youth no nim dia omo wo mu wo mo de call ma IT nko ano enyuma bebre wo ma ebetimi aboa ma mrante ne maba bebre nya bia ombeye Kingsley da akono se village good job and am ye me pe asempa because question e shehin ubebusa even square kutebiri no se efia why do citizens fix the country without the command leader or say citizens na omo ya am say ye fix Ghana no command leader kan wo bedi ani ma me ya fix ya fix enya ye cause citizens no tumi bia eni ne nchen Emmanuel Nastrivin and o say good morning Vim lady no mpani for thumbs up pa de ne Ghana no we must change and one work from bottom to down free from top to bottom free president so ko si di oyekuman ye nyina wo say changing ya fix Ghana enye sa Ghana no enye ye ebio Adama message say if you cannot even fire nowadays so always shifting blame to NDC boss also wa no fire be ye the citizens must be citizens and not spectators men jama Vim lady nko Vim lady aye adwuma 20 years into media memreda I wasn't come call retirement crowd still Vim lady me fire ma for am ni almost start adwuma nyina o majai they are doing PR now because I was say me jai into who fire to fire bia you have the platform on YouTube send the message na men kan ma don't say Vim lady nko na men kwa na me tua no no me kwa na e bo ma me fire and let me read for you. Kwasi Wusu no even me show from Sydney, Australia. Honorable there politics no ye. You have just solution 20 years or 10 years so Ghana so you better to Singapore no me Malaysia no and a bit me aboy no man afa no ntoma pa efua. Don't skiffle. And I say it's better see a technical and vocational training. As they say Ghana they are doing nyina kwa grammar. Course obey abrofu and oba Dr. so and so Professor so and so and so sabi abru 7 previous skills be anim nyansa be anim sa na Ghana pe na ye hoahoa na ye boje ne so ba technical skills e be boy so mo kosua amazing technical drawing mo koye building technology na ade na ya to number form and I say no the onipa akọ technical school kra ye mu no ukope oba kra wan hwa ye ma oba anware ni nyina aka ho na o che se oman no ye ntumi ma oman no enko nanimu no David Techi Menson o say nanado will fix it na nanado be fix it adaben na o be fix it 8 years mu ne yakoyo na nkofo busa no Sidi Rosalie o say we salute you Mr. French na Sidi waka French de nye yenti translate ni bre twi na menkan ema na kwasi usuma kan o message David o say bonsu o say if until we the people in this country understand that leadership is a little part is the smallest part of a problem no Ghana here to me solve a problem be na citizens at the politics no so penny bi kra ba no say 4 years no on me pay election or sesan man no Ghana for be yento ma ye be nwinwin sa na onipa no asesa na adwenti e no man no enye ye no Francois Ode no say if I'm a teacher under NAPCO I work very hard but no pay. One day, the youth of Ghana will bounce on our leaders. Now, and the leaders in Behum Paso or mine, baby Shishipa, or mine. Where your messages I must send you Facebook and teach you YouTube, and I must send it to so call YouTube now send you message. Where your Facebook comments, met me I can count so I drink channel the before in Eddie amount Munti any at the where your life critical issues any of the brafe and to solutions now. You can minimum wage. I said, you cannot member so I said on your bem minimum wage, yeah. Yanko Penny no home remember so Openi Arthur labor consultant why research in fear bebre fa Ghana enuma any honum any solution e betimi enya wo Openi Arthur and opey more good morning akwa about critical issues so
yo good morning me about me we na metia omo a ehwe
almost that sepa openi hwe unemployment am say me no start asem we kra ho komo e wo radio so ne ya to so e wo TV so mo ya mo research mo hu say die enti e na ama say Ghana adwuma ni ho na ama embrante ne maba agi high school am say enko school ye ko school yi a ye nya adwuma nye de ne de mo hu wo mo research nim
yo me da ti ente diagnosis ni de say be kan be na mebo ba ko ni eto ni di kan ni trainer skills to job mismatch and say ni pa na kwa kunya tia hunu but that tia hunu mo kunya no o de fa adwuma mu ana se toda na kade ni ho nti o tu se wo mo etete ye mofra ani adwuma wu afom kita hodie no e wo fom I want to see any me na mati university na me change group there and I may forces for on be here me ni hunu bi a fa industry ho say that area we na yen local economy no opportunities wo mu enu ti mu o se tete wo nipa it is that mismatch no e ka ho titiri na titiri no e ba no graduate no o ma cha da kusia dia utumu so kusia dia batade okusia no obi a wo akade no ni titiri no ensi wa ni ma bi so wo akade wo titiri no mu a nkofo bi amonane na be hesa adwuma but yem ma yen nkofo da ntitiye no eno no eye baako na baako so wo mu no titia ne say globally no utumu say automation so ba niem kitinktibia na kane no ye hwese nipa de ne nsapeye ene ade no bebi machine eno so eye ene ade eno so ma nkofo baako mienu bi elusi wo opportunity but within the last year and in the first half of this year no amount of policy adwuma unemployment so akra titru no covid no obi otu bia ne be ya agin so in the tourism industry they were one of the worst affected areas. Our business is collapsing and they have not been able to come back on their feet at all. They were asked to stay home. They nema kuya ye botro mo binu so ha wo munya kwanya no enko back enko ye agima enti ye bo enum tofa sana but me gidi say intervention egusu aheba aban stimu kana betimi aboa na unemployment no abrasi as for unemployment there ye kasa aban bi go betimi etu ate kwa na ebenya zero there. It's not possible anywhere in the world. But I say betimi abofom na titru emebunu betimi nya akwanya na omonso make a contribution. When the unemployment Pokua our cost to our society. Obi a the taxpayers ka atwemi no because for public school into when they teaching here dey. Na when we not if you can no nya adwuma no the person's economic participation from meanwhile no yet discuss FCA card training group your man akunya ma no sija bibia otumi bua mama no pija chen say oye unemployed na ono so ntumi for contribute bia emai.
And so Penny back to one of the things I know solutions. They say any penny for a studio from mobile free parliament, any or penny or your financial analyst, any lawyer. Ya can be say, for instance, taxes. Yante taxes so a bit me a womanka, uncle you man with beam. She said despite it is in Kayatana taxes so and can this way send a real estate company say need fufu need a singlet to me I do not care beam. Then you have workers in be above account. Oh yeah, solution is sense and can to make creative jobs. Cause unemployment, kwa na cost say. Inti a then solution at least one or two I bet me so wouldn't want you in your research, a bet me about solve a problem no.
Yo, that's example in other jurisdictions near the which a bois Emma okay a budget more. There are some tax incentives and Kakra a bit me abuana and so forth. And so, actually, I increase employment. No moment, there are alternatives. Bibi to say wage subsidy. No, me imagine and only a bit innovative. Kakra, you can't wage subsidy that. Be a buying that okay. My nipa be 200,000 or more per juma. Ufamu ebua. Instead of say be an amount tax incentive, be a nipa no. You bet me about 10% as a loan, and I bet me about 50% of it as a loan. I don't know. We are using it to support the entrepreneur. So, bet me expanding. And you know, no, the condition that I actually say, keep the person for about 2-3 years. So, job experience of one productivity customer. And you want now the cafe the person may absorb after the period. No, let us one man in Nipano. I say incubation kakra when ya training. What they are not to in chance so when ya kakra or no be and no naturally no after the program no when ya hodi ono so ye na djuma aban ewo program fit national service scheme you betumi are direct no you are not just going to be posted to other places no you betumi expand the options national service no kra no we entrepreneur if you ma allowance now also they are starting business if you want your business as you say oh no person you no national service will be giving you your own allowance within that period no now business registration in one for the bank to think that means after year 1 year bit of no year because we should be able to accept the fact that Ghana any amamaya kano aben bia ni bia sia obetumi create job I employ 50% of it workforce Ghana akra no 86% of all workers are in the private sector in TCC creating jobs aben already about mark any BBC say National Employment Innovation Program and one no and also a DNA call can MBSSI also a DNA call and support to encounter micro enterprises medium and small scale businesses Sabaya one and the one who when they expand that they're able to absorb the rest but Obia didn't need professor or cat or train national fire service Yafano Ghana Yafano civil service any idea na and one day our daily by you my portrait and we said that by you my portrait population ratio which won't say a baby radio to be saturated and you know these are the way forward that many say this mission canapa the Sikamo Remu and I buy the project this one by a job and source project I try to able to go in the app. See through one more institutions, no. Say the panel now on paper certificate in Kwama. It's part of the project. You see, yes, sir, about no to bet me up woman unemployment for me panel we are. Why give a certificate in first year and obey here or now under the World Bank program job and skills, but not to bet me up and if you know. Not as on Sapine and some Coswas or Neman Koyepa after learning how to do. No, so business or bit me. Onuna et me no Jinan and so on. So bet me up for Nina Batia home. Let us hear the Tassitaya of not yet. This is the way forward. This is the way forward. But about the I don't know a year for training the people, giving them exposure, experience. But we cannot continue to do it this way all the time. Because a people sustainability so a big challenge.
Okay. Openi mame from minimum wage. So yen na kan ha say Ghana pese edum pempe so enuanom UAE omo quote say Dubai. Ana say bia Singapore ne Malaysia for any omo start ye ya. Minimum wage na ye chia wa ha ne de enye enough ebetime properly productivity. En we ntumi for bia nko ba bia. Cause ye comparison no penny ba kokra ka se wo hwe Europe, any America, or musical minimum wage per hour, minimum don't hour. A so cratch and the whole day. They say a person of mine corner nimpa dear. I was thinking 2 minimum wage as a fata. Net to me a phone crying. So when you do, yes, I did any ABC money, but yeah, yen to me ko baby. Some minimum wage, no more cotton, my agree. You okay, my
yo, ma. Some of these arguments, what the better me, are very simplistic. Okay. You tell me that very simplistic in there. Would to me for Singapore, would to me for US, anyone market coming back to Ghana in terms of minimum wage. Now, my main for Konya is minimum wage. Minimum wage, you know, in the first place, a social protection device.
Okay.
Sabaya, yenya obia oye juma, so now obuti na oye under the poverty line. If we use the minimum wage, now ILO or convention be on the minimum wage. Ghana yes so yes significant that we use the determinant to come out. Number one, I was say we fix the minimum wage in such a way say a bit to me I'll take somebody just at the poverty line, sorry, just above the poverty line. A bit me I am more. But yeah, no, oh yes, I know. we must also look at the determinants of ability to pay. And again, we are very strategic with our sector. And they say, if we have 86% of all employees and workers being in the private sector, also means that minimum wage in Ankasa, the application to government workers, one more pay, it is calculated as a formula of the minimum wage. One more benefit, but now we are setting it up for the private sector. In the private sector, you must be very careful. Say, fixing minimum wage see through around the COVID time. Now, fixing minimum wage now, and through that. You also need to do that. Say, hey, they say, I'm buying things. Don't you say myself? So, I say, I mean, the end, you need to do no partnership. No more partnership, but you need to do no account. Into fixing minimum wage, you are also very careful of industry and the ability to pay. Say, employers so demanding on employers. Now, and also cover young family and perform off because the ability to pay no any factor. It's only a one factor. You also must consider the living standards, living conditions, economic conditions in your day. So they are at least with the CPI, Oko country be almost inflation. If you share the consumer price index, it's a balancing act. Now, one more fixing minimum wage, you know, for full things, you are buying a fixed minimum wage, you know, and you are buying a fixed minimum wage. A tripartite committee, organized labor of 5 people or so, a buy of 5 people, and employers also of 5 people. It's now 15, and then the sector minister, and the chairman for the National Tripartite Committee, and it is done by negotiation, not by imposition.
Okay.
In the organized labor, so the you need you could pay them too much. I am going to be about the traffic. Our man. And you know.
Okay. Your opening, Mammy no, I say, we don't know whether this is the minimum wage. You bet me a boama, a new money be crab at Kahua. Because they all came purchases or Muko raising the baby so private companies in Becca say a year friends a bro or more they are betting me at your SO. But no, no, earlier argument to be slightly different from more they are now. Okay, but you know what I no pay. I wait me about making home and me because now no raise should be about say about taxes. So you tete so a and bet me aboa man krankran nyuma no kra tumi enye sika bebre. No matre omunyuma no ma fam rantie ne maba bi aka ho. Na je se enka ho no so se o market ya no so kra na ke betete income taxes a e ho no mum na aban so age kakra e wedo so. Ba wo ko raise wo ka se ye increase minimum wage na be ha adwen dia na je se enyuma no de ye ntumi nya bi anytime soon for anybody to do.
And I'm person this say, we are also in a global space. Fixed minimum wage. You must also be looking at the relativity.
But when you global space, yeah, now what say? Okay, say me and Afia want to America and Europe win. But West Africa has. But Obaniata, but oh, dear mammy, I deal with West Africa has say Ghana minimum wage in Nigeria and minimum average in West Africa has saying.
So far, no, Okotoba, woman need a uniform minimum average, minimum wage for everybody. No, been a yana, no, be percent, media back Ghana, a staggered doctor for over there, engineers over there, artisans over there, on skilled labor over there. Until be I said that me and the minimum I always me a captain. Yeah, no,
Nigeria for the Nigeria for the minimum wage. How much they saying?
No, I don't have the current figure. This is the corporate. I'm the with the figure be figure na the right thing now. Not yeah, need a CFO anyone more any.
Okay.
In the whole, we are in such a way say so this person be investing in the country. And no, panel and functioning. But what you say?
Okay.
And we also have to give it a regional consideration. A minimum wage, you know, in 2018, 2019, we were not below, we were doing better than Nigeria. We were doing better than Togo. We were doing better than Ivory Coast. But as of now, I pay the affected the integration or not to the other. Then you see one a debut on our Konyamba. You have to be very mindful of some of these things. And I may imagine with you. Young quiet every pempen so be a minimum wage, young fan for the people daily. Young on hourly basis. na yen saga in such a way that and can transfer for our more minimum wage. Minimum wage. I don't know what critical to be in your country. Minimum wage, you know, me as an improvement for people to transfer skills. Be on no see and you may work for the summer 8 hours a day. Na bia entumi mwa wo mo no betumi ahare for 4 hours nipa ni bi obetumi akwa another place after 4 hours na be ya skill transfer to betumi aboso and no very good in pushing up productivity if we are able to fix it on hourly basis.
Okay.
And also
okay, openi mama na wase Yera Arthur labor consultant ne na twetwe nkoma ye hwa se de betimi create jobs so any minimum wage no mo manya bi no kra no san ene e be manage e be make sure se wo gi aketu e sefata ensa no dwuma ne nimde a wokuta no nya se obeko school awie na yen okoye friends political science kra na yesum na kwakotena microfinance bi so onkoye teller ne ama afia bi ade adwuma ni honti no afa ne sa se ne ya ye kan minimum wage wo Ghana ha say $2.01 $2.01 so America any other countries no cost ro mo de kwade mo je bi mo je $15 per hour yentumi mfie ho nto mo de but me google say sia no around Africa ha nyina Morocco and ekuta the highest minimum wage omo minimum wage ko animo pa omo sika no cost ro is the highest in Africa over West Africa hanum kra Senegal Equatorial Guinea minimum wage cost ro as say Equatorial Guinea kromo sika no France 120,000 128,000 and omoje which is equivalent to 195 pounds any minimum wage nti West Africa ha no ye Ghana ye kan mo a omo de ne low no ho bi nti ye ntumi fa ye ho to ada but emba back ne embe ono mo na me ba wo so na sa na me ko openi ata so for the comment ne ye kan even omo manya adwuma ni bi no eno kwa ye problem akatua etua fia bi ti obi a ho che no nti obi a koto no office person corruption oje kakra no de so because government is pretending to pay nti yanso ya ne e be sheda ye say yeso ye adwuma no
yo me the wages no me idea is we are in a free market economy.
Okay.
Baby or you say employers
employers market.
Employers power.
No control system.
On the control system no. Just because there are no jobs.
Yes.
And in time me tembia me come back as a policy. We shift the responsibility no to a government. Who by then you ma aba minimum. You make sure say your electricity supply constant and low rates no tariffs na low a better my business aba road network excellent water supply excellent any niema e dey aban ye no aban be ye no obon say companies will rush in, even foreign companies will rush in na companies na cost no na fe worker no so no he can move from here to here and na wo company no if you don't increase your salary now you cannot get workers to do the work. And you say na compete supply and demand no na adwuma na mo say adwuma fion ya yo hoyi na obi ayere no aba many companies were running at a loss because electricity are minimum when you electricity na ultimately kra break even the company no say you see water bill where you are ultimately break even and eno aso oti ho and aban ne nyede side no ma companies no flourish and you kan ne de abeto aban ne sisa aban pese eman adwuma bamudi a na ono ne part no ede oye because say ye free market economy na government has not nya aban na bi adwuma no aban be ma conducive environment no emaye aban be de no aye roads why electricity say obi akofa Mary power ne ade yaba cal power yaba ma mukura mo blame say adena ye oversupply why say ye nya dum so just because you can't be power plants no anyhow udi mo de ye parties mo de ye ne ma enye nti be de no wanya sika ade ye saade no wanya sika fa anye power na companies cannot come sika nke de odi ye no obi bust scandal na millions of dollars na eko aban sika na eko nti be de no wanya sika odi a road na companies ehwe so na abebie adwuma wa ha no nti kan aban niam solution wo ma ye say emfa solution no solution na me boss no solution say that aban ye roads aban ye electricity aban ye water all these things in the business seba na buying so be no na e dey ojai play ni ade awofa na otua saa extravagant you know oye no wanye no a enye ye because other countries they don't do that. You need the money to put into these ventures no na can be a man who have a crowd called oil company ya a buying a sorry companies in tua kesena because how many Ghanaians now even who call oil company a war takradi this FPS no say my marine engineer and I know about these things a how you try ye papa so yeah you woman I can't tell you my minimum my pay anameji as a chief engineer on the ship my last drone wage anameji
yani ade na oja be MPA
oh say no dey my bia nti I need something else
different okay
na say sika yedi my head here sika fia well compared to a marine chief engineer
ntina me busa
yes nti sika no dey enough but the kesika ni eje wo as a chief engineer on that oil tanker I was selling on the tanker similar to FPF so Kwame Nkrumah
okay
yes sabe cleaner and now welder woman no ni pe obeje no I have your director to be
exactly
but bisa say how many Ghanaians dey adwuma when I was working in foreign ships Max Line Malaysia and the rest no what they do they say answer e be fa mo aba ho no they scan through their market whether they don't have anybody about my adwuma no and say oh ba uduru country you will be a friend permit to work ye ba ma company ba ko tua sika bi amount of money huge amount say the person is bringing you into the country to do a work say adwuma no ye ni pa obeye and that money no the government takes that money to train people na wo dey on free baby ba no and me na me kotem bia every trip bia mako within 6 months no the company will have to pay that money so money no and om dey aya om dey training crop for into every sector bia na obefa ni free baby ba no you have to pay money the back account the government will have that people na omo ready to work unya ya say Ghana ni betumi aya ya mfa nipa mo ma yesa adwuma that's one way I betumi dey solve that problem because obi a wo ship no some of them take no less than $1,000 a day one day
you betumi ya education system ni ye kra de opache se ke betumi training say marine engineer so mo world ni ade ke betumi training o naka ya supply o mo ama other countries o mu hia ya crop no
yes say
tell na ye nya ne sa
regional maritime university Kwame Nkrumah na see 1950 something what am call it na other countries nye bi nti ubogu say Ghana marine engineers ne navigators you call outside
I see
with huge salary say the abaha Ghana high obakono na foreigners na team na we pay you know ship no
okay
FPSO Kwame Nkrumah ne FPSO
omo fa Ghana fo no pobiem
Ghana ni
adencha
bisa mbani fo no and now
by a private employers market
yes
and penny for na fa
o na ba you make the law
okay
ebi na make say Malaysia na ni ade na ye adwuma no o ma law say you cannot employ a foreigner save say adwuma na odi ne be ye no local into
okay
ebi ni ho so a obetua sika me dey trainee ama I take you over from your person no
na ye ni law biasa
hey na in penifon binim kra and a contractive Filipinos ni ade ne ye omba
but on more parliament so to say what is the role of parliament senka mo be ye law bisa na ke a chiche ye penifon ni say company be be ha say oil company say dey 30% of edwuma na say be 60% ye mfa Ghana for just as skills no nsa no edwuma ne ye law bisa
you know say your friend simple your friend local content local content no na they have a way around because you monitoring no and yet good
okay
because oba kono ebi kura na marine engineer na worship no ye obi wa ha and so I prefer say ba ko fa no ba bi
why na ye na adwuma so ye monitoring na ye say nyuma we nyina awo aba beje no
it's the government you put the distance squarely on the government
okay.
Because government they dey share all these things
monitor say government ya na o ka say no why azan why ne o ma ye kanana nti mu parliament mu ntumi mbe ye no ma ye me ye nchiche sankofo no
you have oversight responsibility of the presidency. Recently, you call meeting or education committee, which I'm a member. It's in here shared this technical universities, any MVTI, near the end. About a focal point of policy now. And here discussing how I'm out for a call this grammar school see the young way no. and you are discussing, ask certain questions. Say no. How many of the directors now and of course technical school? How many of them know science? Oh yes, science. Oh engineer, you may not be given the opportunity to head a corporation. And to me, I'm an engineer, but me do you know, me say a master's in business administration because me just say, oh engineer, me want knowledge, you know, I make me analyze figures, no. Me back company woman, ya me director da. Aha, me say me be yadwuma as a marine engineer. I'm back say on management. And so near manage ne analysis why no. Go bet me aye. And so ya unti sad ya me koye administration. Ama me balance ya fa adwuma me tumi be manager. That's one of our problems. And now mama solution no you bet me afasa permit to work no. Na bind the as you okay me raise this topic here
parliament.
Now raise here menua some questions ye bisa nyina no ekosi he.
But honorable until me busa about parliament role in checking the executive because so honorable mo give you up na mo yes o ye busa kra ekosi sen ya and then I just want money ye no because more minority mo dwuma mo kese and it says aban person ye bukata aban person e frakadam aban person odi BBC a that is why minority you expose it
this time
you check into your role should not just be limited to some obeshamra. It should also be no honorable abambabin right honorable cancer asem no pa say parliament should go beyond just formulating laws no monitor buying check here buying say what share how you say tin you say ya do be call privileges committee back no kra government assurances committee ya do be call wanye we ka so be say time na so nye parliament is limiting itself on the account bed the account bed you say yeah wa bonte no enye sadako unim yeah wa bonte be twem ma to parliament bia
civil societies no and there most support
and civil society as
so follow
yet one na parliament mo koto in konyagraphy China buy yet Ghana here creating the jobs for Ghana for carpenters say technical institutions and na mo koto nkonya free China nkonya na ni 3 years na tete me bo honorable
nkonya nchichi de
honorable nkonya na obi entumi mpin fa mu che me ama ba parliament
space ni sha
I say China for nkete na mo kofa China for
parliament house ni sha inti aman konwa na abobo but they are still working.
They say China konwa.
Any I no doubt.
And carpenters say wa ma mo adwuma ni bi anye.
I know any your problem here can.
Enti ade no enye faako honorable enye faako. It's a whole am say top to bottom.
Mama me price. Mama quickly ni me.
Na wa san ka senye se be want.
Okay. I want to start from Openye Arthur.
Okay.
And disagree with him strongly on his usage of the fact that the analysis of the comparisons.
Too simplistic.
I think I take strong exception to that conclusion, just for the record. I think that to conclude, say Suzu say the Ghana minimum wage. Oh, honorable Metro. Me asante achimni. Me come say.
Asante achimni now.
People entering the English program.
Oh, that be say the minimum wage na na say sika kuma ewom say the US. To Ghana, compare. I think it's very mistaken because say US say me fear me fan say me whatever I'm here me call na me koye adwuma wo shop cleaning floor e bia 1 year menya $70,000 minimum me fan say me spend $50,000 on standard of living.
Okay,
the remaining $20,000 me hasela make me dia befie.
Yeah.
So me jaya juma me ya wa ha. Na se me kwa copy performer. Financially it is more rewarding than se metna ha to do anything. What did they invariably promote a brain drain? Inti nyina ya beko. Na means ne sa skills ne ni when obia beko. So then you leave a country literally for the same people to come back and take the country. I think that the implications are bigger, but I just want to put that on the record.
Okay.
So it is not a simplistic analysis, and just for the record, we can compare, and that the impacts are significant. So that's for the record. Now, back to solutions. Me no na boya again say we are running an employers market.
Okay.
Inti sebi the wage ma e na be che to obefa obio inti enyina yes masa na enyina ye de namu. But the bigger question for government, a policy and infrastructure. Into many honorable again on the fact that we need infrastructure, which is where government comes in, and we need policy, which is why minimum wage, for example, is a conversation relevant for employment. But the people and we also have a place. And for us, as we said, the entrepreneur and I say, sa su and I say, sa ajena ye de bie jumano. I was saying bi because say ye co school because ye co school abeyo bie juma. What happened to me co school akosia mason because make me aba be sidai. We need to shift from a place where we become builders. In the youth, I also say the focus should shift from wanting to, as a way to sell the nation to a place where we have a vision. In the end, starting here, again, you're situating in the future of worker. Problem near bigger, and that's why I keep going back there. In the end, I say unemployment so by 2030, I make say because the Juma own machine bet me aye. Inti ye hwe ne sa.
Anya no ti na honorable case leadership. Ti say oba na ye de oman no ma wo, na ye de oman taxes, na ye de oman resources share won sa. Wo na wo say oman direction say be ko benkuma na say be ko ni.
Government has a place, big place in policy and infrastructure. But you can also not underestimate self value and skill set government cannot provide.
But say government e be ma policy na be shape value ne skill set. But because you see our government say Ghana you focus more on technical education. Over the next 10 years, you bet me generate creating more engineers, more mechanics, more and Sanu Juma no better also. Say the last 20 years I got my yes young kind brofo and honorable can say ma no engineering no kwa was say job ba humanity administration and only I know
you are doing completely that government has a big role in shaping policy and direction. But let's also not underestimate. So as I said, volunteerism is morphed into a small movement for training youth, which is Africa Learn, and we actually intentionally train people for skills and mindset and things like that. Sebi menya one see their free obi ho. There be. We would have to use our own resources to come back to understand. Say entrepreneur works in an environment government creates. But the entrepreneur also harnesses that environment. Inti I also you training your home as a people to be entrepreneurs. I enim say sebi ochina do I respect and serve people? Me bring me who say enough to serve other people? Do I have enough values? Do I even provide value enough such that sebi me a carpenter ni akofa China ni carpenter ni bridge na ho makes me a pound for pound. Say the only minimum. Make me a yakonya to say the China ni bet me a yakonya. Those are skill sets that in your government they be provide. If even we create the infrastructure for learning, that learning will be done by individuals.
Obi no be get because Pokua's furniture. Anyone when furniture companies here and saying over there I can last be 8-10 years. Na ko mu jina mo na so pa Pokua's no any idea over here na furniture we no mo bia mo ye mpa mo ye wardrobe mo ye boys here good 37 ho kro mo nwene mpa wardrobe ni ade ana aban ye say ya mo dwetire monye mo mfanye aban kro so create channel bi ama mo a mo ne ma no mo ye wie kra ye san koton bi wa abrochira ma mo se de ba mo benya ho capital nka bia ka be kwa ni mo
is that me no ya adwen
because we all workers won't take advantage yen kro mo Ghana bebre wo mo nim de wo form opportunity no so of onim kra say wo so ko GIPC also ko abatinka leadership no e wo kwan bi to say de yi Malaysia for be fa aba e no mo de aba ye ne ma kese ya kebi anka Ghana yakoye nim chance e unyini
but problem ni say me no ya adwen but the organization no ujai ma aban a sebi aban ne hwan oman no e ye mene wo senior me
ba obi de animu Ghana de anyame ne want to say America de no
you see me know ya against obi de animu but where I disagree with you is that the private person can organize and learn and can form cooperatives that are more effective than what government can do and that's the point I'm making. Sir continue for if they form the cooperative and they found the right people with the right skill could they not have organized under Africa Free Trade and sold and opened a shop in Gambia, in Senegal, sold to other places? And that is the enterprise. Into a private enterprise is private people taking their own destiny in their own hands, rather than thinking, say, sebi, obi be fi baby na aba baby bi amaye. Yen nyina enim say ye twen so obi be fi baby aba baby bi amaye. Ya betwen ya chekaka. Oh, so in the context, obi otie should understand say enkosi say aban ne beye ne fa no. I was say yes ye bibi maye ho. And that's the place I'm having the conversation from. Okay. I don't disagree say aban definitely has a big role and could have done better. But what I'm saying is that in the midst of that inefficiencies, then as a private people and as a youth population, we can organize a bit more. We can bring ourselves together, get people, find leadership among ourselves who lead those enterprises beyond our borders.
For the kind of economy na Ghana you're running, the leadership was say abai bem. But my abani a final comment because you bring no etchum kra and it's a ya shada na yedi bi account because the started program because of motorway accidents and for the messages but still as a traffic ne kakra o motorway ne so nti e me trust MTT phone because if you are matching na na omo ekwan no so ma me kan messages we Facebook and YouTube na fe yembeji a final comment on abone opening kese na ye say ensa be ka minister but say yera say adwon aye ni ti mu bebre no akwakoka wa ye anya because ye hia answer to adwuma ni say adwuma no we napco enye long term solution to job creation ye napco no kra kofo bebre send message say basis ne omuntu a omuka o omusi yentu a omuka enti no so aban sika no e we he ena muntu a napco fo no e ka mam we ka say ye covid na akwakofa aba yebo apol no sister Afia we need people like Canada, Japan, Zoom Lion Japan no Mr. Despite ofori sapon no any ade said the bomb be bie be boost economy no say e be kra free neko obi oye MP bi obeba parliament no e wo say ya say we bie adwuma woni constituency ana ba bi foforo workers say na ya fa wo ansa na ya to aba man yesa me ento aba ebio na friends yera nim mate knows o sister Afia good morning me pe show ipa bam so ye musa pass a problem if we in a buy because on do hwemu the problem started from Mahama. The country is paying for his house rent meanwhile but on the law constitution your president Mahama nkwa na etia na rent constitution no wo mu say obia ex president bia na o say etia president Kufo yetua into obia enye yi nkwa president Mills etiase anke betua ne de amano nti constitution provision tuntumi blame nyama hama na pe na oje na Judith Boatin akosivim I need 20 people to be trained on CCTV camera, electric fencing, solar installation, so I need government to support me with an amount of 40,000 me okuma say and committee me aye na me so me training nkofo no mo so makwa ebi ama nkofo mu CC estate a wo so pay this kind of services e wo mu nti no so fatudwa na ye hwe so obi beboa na Judith Boatin akwa I don't say if you are me a graduate but Judith na ka no was a graduate we see say the CCTV camera ni solar panels no ya de besi na onya adwuma enti obeden na wenya kakra a che say said the new amrante ne maba bebre crop person mo ware mutumi ware because adwuma bi ni ho a wo mo ebeye na ya glitz was say why do you convince the upcoming generation say education is a key abra we are surrounded by poor graduates and rich criminals obi eni won ma obeye adwuma obeko school bi because obi ade ho kwasha politics ma britia bi mo na wa yeye was say Afia good morning anope yebo apol makan o message no wasan de aba ebio Joanna Apiko o say Afia I suggest next time bia for unemployed graduates for no bra na mrante ne maba akro munya adwuma nye no o mmra no mo hwe say o so adwen be na o mo wo a o betimi dia ka ho a ye betimi dia solve Ghana your problems so Timothy Gariba no say him lady please if Ghanaians are talking about development NDC party no crash should keep quiet because omo na ama oman Ghana no anko nanim 8 years ye de ma o mo mba ye etimo ntumi an solve Ghana problem mo solve kakra kranka Ghana ko nanim anka na na do ba ye he wouldn't have much to do and so ne hwe de ekoso e wo mem Dennis Odenke no say Afia if Nana can fly expensive jets with a bed of 15,000 then an HR and ask the white man to forgive his debt and it's a big shame to Ghana. Sanem so all patch Jones Boatin no se Ghana ha kra de too much talking no action ya NDC MPP ene ye nyina kasa no solution ene ye de my Secretary Prince eso wo Facebook no say let's put politics aside ne enwene said the Ghana 20 years 30 years ye betimi aboa na youth no enya adwuma ye na de ekwe de ye to aso say ya de blame game NDC de ato MPP so MPP de ato NDC so a say ya na ye beba 20 years no problem no kwa be bigger e chense because napko no entumi for obi forever and Francis Ode kra de aba say Afia me ye napko teacher wo besi nne ye ntua me ntia no say busa leaders ma ye say pay no ewo hin a che say nei ho a kire ye sa ye to one me ye nya adwuma nyi Theophilus ansan ata o say Afia please NDC MP no pamono because at the end of solution no there politics but you share that bread pants and you nya ba ho nti wo de only obi nya you can share your business but pamono there said that is not a solution to the unemployment issue yebo apon no say Afia we need people like Canada Japan yebo am read the message no asan there but David Osebonsu was say honestly NDC MP we has no idea about how to solve the problem of unemployment so as a blame game and oba studio so oba be we moyen and Linda Bell laugh no say government know how to go to house no akwa counting kofo no what me there any problem or there you know any database there akwa give vote no more be solve unemployment problem there aban ye kokwasa After that, baby, no see. So this NDC MP pa, we have a long way to go. So on fa ideas in back. Na propaganda na obey in the studio there. Any Ghana ebe brew pa. Jeffrey Daniels no say I'm highly disappointed in my MP pa. Me to abama also be politics so studio and I say, brother be my solution. Oh yeah, my menu me ho. As I'm not speak to the issue. Nana John Sarkozy ado no say this NDC man wants to say Mahama project no. Woyeye kosi sen ade ye zero effect nkanya sa senke ne nkadwuma ho a Ghana fo nya bia wo mo ye Johnson Azuma was say Afia you are talking too much you are interrupting the flow of the point I told the bia na me ja wo mo say me interrupt so say Afia the man is diverting check no a whole to force bro you can imagine the stress of the president and MPs we say Francis are there and Maka Ode Francis Kofi Ejuri Ching or say go to technical university there are no tools how dey be adwuma practicals no ko ejai and a theory nko an oye na e be ye den build Ghana into the next 20 years where Isaac no say I like this show pa if you have someone to blame then we should blame our own mistakes you this we do things anyhow you dream say strategic ama on my no nkoso we na love papa be no good morning vim lady please busa omoma me wo studio say private nurses nto omo part of Ghana na ebi no we school from 2017 yem page ma bia ma omonye enso politics any dey unemployment Emmanuel Makan wo dey wo YouTube wo dey about Facebook and Nana Kwaku Rich I say I'm watching you from Ebri Mountains you guys are doing massive job we and a topic e was Ghana for youth and ke dey ani eche ne nya pe solution e ma Ghana man Kwame Willie and also good morning vim lady me wo kumase and I make sure I really like said them more question and penny for no pa your question omo say ya and ko bi ba ono abepe answers and san wa ba betene studio onim say ya mane fa no ho eni ekra na someone no say unemployment rate no kra dey akoso kra chen say Afia e bro so kra from 2014 2015 and 2016 IMF conditionalities no e no kra ka ho na ma no say a point na wo ka no wo say IMF conditionalities na e ka say aban on to me employ no so ka ho and ma ya unemployment rate no e call esro no and Victor Boache no say any proper laws be boyen and can no betimi create employment bebre e dey am Paul Yeboa was say another big problem a government facing Ghana na kasa face a change of government we call 4 years we call 8 years now we aba eno moa me nya consistency in leadership said the Singapore for any other countries no omo ewo no we Nana Sam also of Vicenza Italy was even can you ask the honorable for me say how many people and they taxes Ghana because Italy hano ye taxes pa Enyima Augustine Civil lady good job please for the MP to speak the truth push ni pa me mon divert asem no kofa baby Doris or say no civil lady this airline issue no a good point pa na interrupt ya o de buy no because Ethiopia airline kwa share jobs o create 100% owned by a friend saying omo Ethiopia for senka Ghana Airways ye ni year and can net jobs be create and can be Ethiopia airline for kwa jobs are omo create no then it's Kwame no civil lady we have a bigger problem na kache o producer no ma ye say nyakopon sha no say ne wo mama wafa unemployment topic as a main topic away from the usual politics because mobile na minim say enen ka rasta boy ya sema ya ma no kwa ma wakọ achimota we no create jobs and so we amakọ akofa be ma ya de pa obiba ewo if you obidoba Afia wo France say if you bonjour and come on no France no wonti nti bonjour obidoba ene munua France na me sister give to switch channel mama Francis Kwajo Osan or civil lady. I wonder why our leaders are not investing in technology. Cause youth no ye be technology no bebre benya adwuma ye technology mo so abrodi be ye nti won baby a omo ede akwakofa ba na ya kakari Hammond. But see if we need education to know what is happening in the world. We also need parliamentarians so omo so here education papa say thank you if ya say we pushing on the plain issue because education in the parliament they will not even see some more to me so be check aban no she baby afei na nkomomo akopie Nana Kwame Opasco maka message nti wo de Facebook ebe double silencer na David ose won so maka message kwabna Kamuzu maka message si osa aka se wawie nursing adwuma bi ani wa mo be nti he na mbenya abochi ba na say I'm convinced the executive arm of government overrides the power of parliament nti cross check na if you busa honorable no enya adwuma enka parliament wo tumi say the constitution dey amomo na omo ye adwuma say the constitution amomo tumi na they can even override executive no eniema bia oye enti we nyina ya de e wo se ye dwen ho se dachi bia na amendment bia na ya ye wo se wo se nke ban politicians e wo Ghana hanom se nka TV no ne ade nyina mo wonye because omo do omo akwa dua maybe media houses amene politicians na akwa edwumewura enti asem no kran sento ni betimi aka no kre no ye se me enkoka na akwa ye asem bebere some of pencil no say we should have included MPP MPs no also so that we hear from both sides. Boss, MPPs nya kwa ye was sakra wo no so we couldn't get them. Nti nya say boapayo. Yeah, producers omo nye enkras ha wo. Omo so omo ye homework pa. Omo nyina ekwa ye. Nti ya ko bia we couldn't get the MPP MPs to come to the studio. Nti na ababe say unhu no one side no. Imano Yoma or see we have brains who can only organize themselves to raise issues against government but omu to be more solutions. If you come back to honorable na on the solution as a last but honorable my solutions is here what my solution oh boy GH no say don't pray I'm really disappointed yeah MP na disappointed pa no development ewo ensawom ehonum and akofi enkansa no say if I did ACCA ewo UPSA because of lack of job nti say me ye decoration na me dey supporting me abusuafo no me ade technical skills obi emu won dey baby a ede aba beduru ana enti ono so ne dey na final comment on mention say free ho asa
omo achi ho ka no em say omo kura ye politics say ye politics omo ka
it's true
omo ye politics because o tie dey me kan ya ma bobo ne ma so say low taxes ebeboa ama employment akosoro me say water government provide water access to water ebema employment akosoro electricity access to electricity akwa me kroma si akoso bodam no the main purpose was to industrialize the country into a year akoso bodam roads so buy roads because obi koye factory we be kroma you do who say nearest to market no obetumi e de new aba no e de abakrom enti mabobo all these things so enti me hu dey trade there omo ka say me ma solutions yes enti no aban so na you responsible for all these things they am just say make us aban was no any MPP aban na president ayi Akufo-Addo ono tia no enti so physical yes ha na mai na so the plane at Sremu a e dey make because that is my role o say parliament me MP dey na meye me say me criticize aban no ana president ade a wo ye na e ma sa na mai nkoso e ma adwuma ma no maka permit to work in Malaysia say e be ya say adwuma no bi no yemfa sa yinima nkrofo no companies na omo dey foreign the say ba no na omo entraining ebi wa ha maka sa solution no loans aban akwaje loans this aban by 4 years you can about 180 billion yemi say dey no dey a create job because we can say Muhammad see hospitals bebre na yemu no aka wirem o see schools bebi aka wirem o see roads sanye mai eboa amadwuma ba hospitals ni ko a wasia bebre aka ho no se etumi ya nurses omo benya adwuma teachers schools a osisi yi blocks a aka wirem no eno nyina no yesi a amafo ebenya adwuma ye this is the way a ese yeko now say politics also nye message say aban onfana ni nko airline ho because adwuma creating more jobs now onhwe shipping line emra na meye seaman takrade any tema now these towns were run by the ships Say downstream no ebe ye adwuma bebre wo mo a ye supply nnuane wo mo a ye penti wo mo a wo ye chese ne ye koba kra ye bedru takra dia ne ye fa coastal people workers na mo tifia manfo na tifie no ye fa won na wo ye wo mu dada no o ma kofia kodjo ma home ne ye fa coastal dia de wo ko West Africa Nigeria Gambia ne ade ya sa de o ma ba na o ma sifam na atwa kunu ba it create a lot of jobs when ne ade a o de amafo ade ani ko ho refinery. You see, Yanya oil, Oko Singapore, it's a land of refinery. Omo your island state. It's baby bia omo refinery. Omo the refined oil no ediko. And you see highly paid jobs. I bet me ISA nyame. Na mo me yanko see collapse banks. Makasa nyame. Aba collapse so many banks, over 600 banks, indigenous banks. Oba then work create jobs. And they say some ye nipa na some muska. Na mpese me be bia adwuma. O is aba to me because me koye mo megum adwuma. Obagu adwuma no because scanner get all the shapes banks ne brekra scanner get all the shape na the revival banks no wakobobo see about 10 times and ade agu banks no o say fe dey o di beto tax me etua sa tax no tax scanner o di gu bank no wagu bank no o say sa scanner o di gu bank no o ba je afiri me ho me na me nya adwuma na wagu ma adwuma makotene fie no o sa ba je me tax e di ayesa nti nya no ye kan ni nyina say aban ihwe corruption na ekọ aban so aban mu no yenja isade no corruption me can this government and also me go can previous one ye asema ye kan and now cash for seats nyina wo ha boss ye wo ha Ghana Post PDS ni nyina wo ha je say kasa sika betuma ye sa nema me boss yi boss a yetumi ye sa nema ya companies now automatically beba eba minimum wage se ugina so aban ahye mra se minimum wage aban ko be pagem because one year unya obi amoma ye odwuma no because enwuma na bu these are the solutions amediama nti o mo chi na mo kan politics no eye o mo destiny they make kan o mo tie asem Malaysia Petronas uko Malaysia is run by Petronas bibia ade bi o bibia is government owned ye oil ye complain say ye the ama foreigners when dey ma nya buy na dey ama eye me na me dey ama as MP me they make my say make some of parliament
and I no dey oil on the end there say free tete president Kufuor ma mo discover oil na Professor Mills buy status here sign contract ni nyina no cause omo no mo dey o sika ebetu ni nti no they have to get ono say one now can say businessman bi eno a odi ni sika she bi mo nya mfa so nti and dey nyom for say kan yan yo ye dwetire e dey say dey be ma GMPC na GMPC na kasa adrele a enka ake energy ni ade omo ma but because I final because you have time
no ho no ni na say government you find a way so ko gi loan na say loan no o de be yes productive venture na e be pay off no ko gi loan na o de cheche and now the full play
just a loan ke metum kwa de oil okay
gi loan fa ya dia e be man fa so abaso national service ya ye bo nkwala hu kai me dem say ye napko ye na so di entran ka says can ye national service no ye fa employ nurses ni teachers na chifie no no mo nye permanent job so obi wies university a nya so oba ye adwuma 1 year no akotena fie because that money is going to waste
okay
many of the children ye from national service no adwuma no me DC ye di nipa be 10 be gu ho me problem say konwa kura me tamo matna so me nya bi if you dey tena fie na ye joka and that is what is going on
until I make say a politics no blame game no confirm be break send messages about blame game go say wo so ye DC na just wo abre so kra na omo dey free show no omo dey abroad fan confirm
no national service a policy a da ho say every year be a national service
and I make say
ba bi mo nya adwuma na e ba
a fantastic example na because again na kede ye dey factory bi kra exactly on proud cry factory ni benya no faso na say onya akonwa nto aso so yes national service
na da ho national service every year bia ye tua sika budu na ye abi na yeri so na ko extension of national service
is true it's the same thing
and
a permanent solution
no
in my view going forward in the midst of all the other problems speaking directly to a young man and as a young man listening to me the kind mechanism skill and value is fundamental. Ye biya juma if it's private or government, the obenya be a skill and a value. The world has become so globalized, and even the future is a bit more stressed, such that a juma na akano one who you be befa obi ewo US amanaye no internet so. So it's high time we found value and skill. But I won't say at the end I can compete with anybody anywhere in the world. If you are Juma Awuye, you can compete with anybody anywhere in the world, and that is what makes you stand out. Into Utia, what is the skill set? What value do I provide to society? The second thing I would say to end is long-term view and ask why. Yes, so say matia no sa na tie ye no hwe enye ye nti obi asusu say his contribution is almost meaningless. But I think that if the youth would take a long-term view to life, na sebi meka say 15 years ago menya actually it's taking, I've been writing and doing the things I've been doing 15 years on. Sebi Afia na nyame adom nyama epic kakra, but still in some ho everything takes time, and then we should understand say NC one day. And so we should be patient and take a long-term view in order to build businesses. Intermediate school, na minye juma na me start ya. Ebia ochina enye ye. But if I take a long-term view, in the long term, it helps the country and it helps myself. The third thing I would say to end it with is we should understand, say, in as much as buying individuals have problems, there are structural and systemic problems. Problems that are bigger than sometimes we know or think. Problem of financing and problem of the global world is bigger. And until we understand the African Free Trade Continental Agreement and the idea that Africa should be seen as a single market, where we are youth, you can collaborate with somebody in Zambia and somebody in Senegal to build an enterprise that can compete with the US state. So we should be more open to, which leads me to that last one, which is humility and learning. Sebia ho brasiene esuahunu eye. Bibia no ususu se wunima na ususu se wo de ya untimi ente the other side. Inti party ususu se onim everything, party B ususu se onim everything. I think it's our time as a nation we came down and say, can we pay attention and listen to each other? Yentie in all humility. And can we collaborate in all learning in the interest of the nation? And I think that if we can do that, the future can only be limitless.
Messages na kano yentumi nkan because ebre no edi etia kra me yetwemu ba yefa seda kese ma say one ya tena sia free almost 9 o'clock abisi sabri mo so amonam tema motorway no so no yesrema na mo aye ahweye because if ram machine accident me nsa na esi wo hono ma ya tese ba kokra so asan kwakosi e wo hono mti yesrema na ma ya ahweye e wo kwan no so ne other rules wa bia wo kokuma se na msa ma na se Cape Coast kwan so yesrewa na wa ya ahweye e wo ho ama yeda se so monitor seda kese de come this way chocolate drink do you hear any insushare any special ice mineral water is you krojin unum bia ebebo aseda kese nso enko ema yenu abema chef John anopei eno bre wachi sa say team ni nyina se de bom betimi edi monya adaje eni ahoden aye adwumanya betesa ema adwuma no enyina chef John number 020-617-8728 I just say special watch to me the watching yes shawarma cra eti o be supply obi a ona mo kwa nka wose me order bi na nka me de man ma ko try na ma hwe aseda kese nkoma yera ya osumpa eye financial analyst osan lawyer ni e kan osan so e na honorable Peter Yawo kwachi aka eye Amenfi Central na shebedi na nka honorable Georgeta e na ho no be yi ni free ho no say ono na bona fide dem people papa mo amone ne eye argument ni say ono na ti akonya so upo di so tunu e na obetu no so de be che nti ono na ti akonya so but yebekọ so abon common about especially job creation nye de bia na yebe ya amanyosem eto de be gya ni nyina guo na ahwensem a ebeboa oman ne daachen ene oman no nkọ anim yefra me vim lady Afia Pokua papa wo de yeda so follow ye de bia wo hwe yeda Nyankopon sha so follow ye ema na me sitafia so e wokumase wo so ye chia wo nana tufo ojuntuni nana tufo nana tufo na obo high life ofiri mu afini nti abusuafo be ye afeda June ya nti abusuafo yeguso a ye mamo ya akọ ene hyede na ye nua be ma wiafe a na ko kan ho wo despite media ya so afe pepepe ne nra ya ofiri mu abante efefefa chese afe na ko aduru ne mpempen so Onyankopon be pagya na kese pa na ba ma wo ebe fa no ko ene chese ye nyina so yeto a ye hwe hu ye se de ba ya ye nyina so ye betena wiase edi na chenye ye nkwan mo mu di echi bia wo na auto bia wo de mani pakro no nso hwe wo hu so yi a wotimi abetena wiase ache aba behwe na abusuafo from a vim lady Afia Pokua so that you odia me nua be madam e wo Joy FM ene e your birthday se nyankopon sha ene nadom e wo production team ni na yedamase